Good morning. Let's see, how's the sound doing? Can you guys hear me? Hello, can anyone hear me? Good morning. All right. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Hi.
Oh, cool. Hi. I need to test. I'm doing these new headsets and microphones. And so until I hear someone speak, I go, oh, they can't hear me. So, hey, yay, someone heard me. All right. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Wow, nice to see you, Audrey. It's been forever. Mary. Hi, Mira. Nice to meet you. Is it Mira? Did I say
Yes,
that right?
yeah.
I have another Mira who comes to my classes and who I used to call Myra, and now I know it's Mira. So, but it could have been that in your case it was so I thought I'd ask.
Right.
I learned. In fact, is she in this class? No, I don't think she's in this class. But anyway, it's interesting because I usually at home when I'm in person, no, when I'm in school in person, I have to ask how things are spelled to write name tags. But now it's like, how are they pronounced, right? So welcome everyone. Hi. Hi, Pilar. All right. And it's another day. Who was near the fire yesterday? I was not near. No, I'm safe, but I didn't know that. I was teaching still. It was 9:15. I was finishing up my class and my husband came running in and class was recording, right? And everyone was leaving. Everyone was done. I was down to 2 students who were asking some final things, like when everyone's done, and I stayed behind to just answer a few more questions. And suddenly my husband runs in and goes, there's a fire. And I'm like, fire, where? Down the driveway. Down the street. And down the street kind of means right here. So I'm panicked. I'm like, I gotta go. So if you hear the recording, I'm like, fire next door or something like that. Right? And I hung up and I ran out and there's no fire. And if you actually stand on my sidewalk and look to the right, straight view to the whole mountain on fire, right? But it was not next to my house and you're all panicked. So it was still panicky, but the recording sounds like, because everyone gets the recordings of these classes at the end and then they can go to them. So everyone's going to think that I was on fire. It was just down the street, but kind of down the street. On the east side, this is on the west side, right? So
it was so windy though yesterday. So
oh my God,
you had reason to be scared.
Well,
yeah.
I taught for like 8 hours yesterday, and the whole thing is interesting because it's happened to me over this last year that I'll be standing here on the east side, and then someone from the west side or someone from Goleta is having a storm, and here it's beautiful. Or yesterday someone was like, oh my God, the wind is blaring, and I'm like, no, it's fine. And then an hour later it's blowing over here. It's like this instant weather report. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, so hi, I'm Diana Musacchio. Nice to meet you all. Most of the people who are joining us have taken many of my classes over the last year and a half. So they won't be joining us for a while we get up and running with some of the basics. And those of you who are here have the privilege of I used to be that everyone who knew all this stayed and waited and got bored. So now I just told them, just hang out while we do the basics of how to get all the stuff up and running. So we're a small group to start, and that's really cool because I like meeting new people a little bit more one-on-one. And not everyone here is new, but some people haven't been with me for a while, and some people are totally new. And we'll find that out in the next few minutes. But I just want to first introduce myself. Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Hi, Gabriella. Nice to see you again. All right. So, and Herman I met earlier this week. And Joyce I met earlier this week. So, all right, everyone's here. Susan knows the job because if you see down there in the chat, she's already signing in. So everyone down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see a little button that says chat. Click on that and then give a little hey ho, hello, I'm here. That's to help us as to help me record attendance later. Okay. Yeah, okay, thanks, Gabriella, for your message. So here in the chat, if you're gonna say, Gabriella just told me something that's a personal thing, she wrote straight to me, so you guys didn't find out. But 90% of the messages you guys are gonna have are questions about the class. And my request is when you go write a message, see how it says to everyone is how you should be writing, as everyone is doing right now. But people will now ask me something about what I'm explaining about the class, and they'll ask me in a direct message, and then I'm talking and no one knows what I'm answering. So please make a point of writing to everyone when it's a class question, A, because most people will have probably the same question, or many will, and B, so that in case I forget to repeat the question, people know what I'm talking about. All right. Anyway, yes, Mary, mine is insufficiently caffeinated as well. Here I am. Believe it or not, but the whole fire yesterday did affect me because it took quite a while. I mean, we had such a great view from here, for better or for worse, that the whole neighborhood was out. It was kind of a social moment for those of us who are not in danger, but near enough to be slightly concerned that I had some work to do, and I stayed up way too late finishing up that work that still was due, fire or no fire, given that I wasn't evacuated or anything. So anyway. So I have a few minutes to introduce myself for a lot of wonderful new friends and maybe neighbors. I have found that a lot of people lately are coming in from around the rest of California or the rest of the world. So is anyone here who's not from Santa Barbara? Or who's not in Santa Barbara right now? Hi, Patricia.
Good morning. I'm late.
Oh, no problem. Remember that you're one of the ones who knows the ropes, knows where the files are, knows where VDI is. So you can just wait and show up a little bit later, because
Okay.
what time did I say for everyone else? I think I gave him half an hour or an hour. I think I gave him an hour, because last time it took us an hour to go through this part. So you're welcome to sign in later. Like Susan came in, signed in, and now she's going to come back in an hour. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So see you in a bit.
you.
All right. So I find that this is much better when people aren't stressed that others are waiting, that they don't know this part. So so that's why I'm kind of sending Patricia off to calm down, because there's no hurry. So it looks like everyone is local, since no one said you're not. And I hope you're all safe and okay from yesterday's fire. Our college was on the verge of being on fire, and fortunately it's okay. But there was a moment of concern there, because communications can get disrupted really easily, and all of our files are on the servers at school. And so, yay, all of our files and much other stuff is safe, and we'll be able to access our material. First of all, I've been teaching here at City College for gazillions. I can't even, I'm looking as if the year is going to tell me something, for like 25 years, I think, or more. I don't know at this point, a ton of years. I love it. You'll see that one of the main reasons people come back to my classes is they can tell how, not only how much they learn, of course, but how much I really enjoy teaching you guys. And I learn from you guys all the time too. So it's really cool. I am a photographer and graphic designer. That's what I trained to be professionally. I went to Brooks here. I came to Santa Barbara to go to Brooks when Brooks was really cool and a big deal. And And I was still doing, processing films and negative films. And next thing I know, everything went online, and I ended up being a TA in the computer labs at school. And, here I am still working with photography and with art, but doing it on a computer. So the way a lot of people think that photos get processed more now after being taken than before, but no, we did a ton of stuff to the photographs after clicking the camera. Mary's like maybe a fellow photographer, right? But that's actually,
I had a black and white darkroom class.
oh, there you go. Yeah, and you know how many hours we spent in that dark room manipulating and putting in things. And so it's not new that things get processed after the moment of photography. But that's what this class is all about. Now we just do it on a computer. Okay, so it depends on what comes in. So however good the photograph was when you first took it, many times is what comes out. So we're going to be talking a lot about the light and the possibilities of a photograph, but a lot of it also is completely new and stuff you can do, which is out of the box of what you could have done in the past with photography. And some of you guys are here because you just want to make your photos better. Others, and you're just a, home variety, capture what you're living kind of photographer. Others are travel photographers, and many times I have professional photographers, and other times I have people who just need to do their business and all the marketing for your business. You're online, you have an online web page. So whatever your reason, the more you tell me about why you want to do this class, like what's up with you in this class, then the more I can say, oh, because Mary, or Mira, because you told me that you're interested in this, or what you're doing is for the web, or what you're doing is for product photographer, what you're doing is for collages, composites, and then I can give you more personal tips. So at some point, I'm going to ask you to give me a little bit of your background, and you don't have to tell me what you're up to, but people find that whenever you actually go, oh, I'm making a book, like Patricia, who just went out, she's putting together a coffee table book. And so I'll speak more to what she has to do. I also teach all of the Illustrator, direct, digital design techniques, all of the Mac classes, social media, so anything that has to do with putting imagery and working on computers. And usually I also teach Windows computers on the credit side, but the ones that are all the graphics and all that are here on the non-credit side. So ask me things beyond other stuff. And when it's beyond our class, I always stay during break, or I stay after class, and I'll answer things like that. But I might tell you, oh, if you want to learn more about this, then this is a class for you. There's a whole series of classes that others of us teach that I can kind of direct you to the right place. All right. So last thing I kind of said, I think I said my name really quickly, or maybe I didn't say it at all, but my name is, as you can see it written there, it is not how you probably pronounce it. I'm Diana, and I'm Diana Musacchio. I am from Argentina, so I say it in Spanish, but if you call me Diana, Deanne, or any of those things, it'll still work. But that's why I say Diana, because I came here to go to Brooks, and here I still am. And I don't have much of an accent, so it gets confusing, but you'll see whenever I try to say some kind of funny saying, it comes out kind of weird, because I'll always be like saying it in halfway one language or another. Okay, so other than how much I love this and how enthusiastic I am, now you know me. I want to know a little bit more about you guys. Why are you here? Doesn't need to be anywhere near as long as me, because I want to get pedal to the metal, get you guys the files. But what do you want to learn? Why are you taking this class? Who wants to go first?
I'll go. As I said, I had a black and white darkroom class, back early 90s. And the camera I had was too complicated and too heavy to take anywhere, so I never really used it much. And then the electronics stopped working. I got disgusted and didn't have a camera. Got a laptop again, maybe 6 months ago. And so
Mhm.
right now I know how to take a photograph on my cell phone, but I don't even know
Yeah.
how to look at it bigger than
Yeah.
2 by 3 inches. So I need to like take everything from scratch again.
That's great. By the way, I always say that the best camera is the one that you have on you, right? And so phones tend to be the cameras that we all have on us now. So a lot of the times, and I used to, I don't have the photography classes session, but there's other teachers right now who are teaching photography classes that you might want to take. I can point you to them of how to use even your as I said, what you photograph makes for a better result after processing, depending on how you take it. But there's different ways to take a really good photo, even with your phones, right? I'm actually creating an iPhone photography class that isn't out yet, but that'll be cool. But if you all have digital cameras and big up DSLRs and all kind of that material, sometimes you'll take a worse photo than just a phone photo, because it's not about how much money you put on equipment, it's about your eye, right? So just go out and take awesome photos with whatever you have at hand. That's what matters. Don't be intimidated if it's, small or big. Just get the image, get the love of the image, and then you'll see that there's a lot that can be done to work with it here in Photoshop and in all these programs. So, all right, welcome back to the world of images. All right, Bruce, you were starting to
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm Bruce Hale. I'm a children's book author and illustrator. And I was hoping that this class might give me some insight into how to manipulate my illustrations in Photoshop, add color to them, do different things with it. So I do take photographs on my phone, but that's really secondary for me.
Cool. Well, I also teach the Illustrator, the Digital Design Techniques class, and across the board of those classes, you would end up getting a lot for your work. See, now that you told me that, you guys, because I can teach such a spectrum inside of photography, but knowing that that's what you're interested, I can spend more of my time explaining that kind of thing versus other times if everyone's just strictly in photography, then I might just not talk about the illustrative, if you want, part of Photoshop. So thanks for sharing that with us. By the way, if anyone has any imagery, we're going to be using my images during class, because especially when I can't see what you're doing, we all need to be working on the same material and thing to keep the class going. But you're welcome to share your images when they email them to me. Sometimes I'll ask you for permission first, but if it's appropriate, I'll share with the class things that students are up to. So anything you guys want to show about things that you're applying to your own photographs that you're learning here or other, that would be great. In fact, one of the students of mine who is now showing up from Brazil, because they're there temporarily, they're Brazilian, but he's a famous cartoon illustrator in Brazil, and he was always doing everything with pen and ink and watercolors, and he came to my classes to figure out how to create it in digital form, and now he's transferring all his material to digital form. So yeah, that's awesome. So many painters and artists take these classes because you might be doing oil painting, but you need to show it to the world as a digital image, right? So how do you make that transition? So cool. Yeah, you're in the right place. But ask me specific questions sometimes to remind me to talk to that need. Okay. Whenever you, oh, how would it be if, and I'll go, oh, and then I can help you more with that. All right. Someone else who wants to tell me? And you can just say, I'm here just because I like learning and that's the only reason, and I want to learn something new. That's also awesome.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm
Okay.
Amanya. My video
Hi, Amanya.
is not working as per usual. I've taken an Illustrator class with Diana, which was fantastic. I use Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign for work, but I'm completely self-taught. So I'm here to learn all the ways that I'm actually taking 20 minutes to do something that could take 2, and all the little tips and tricks that Diana throws in throughout her class that are incredibly helpful in the work that I do every day. And that's it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I met Amanya last session in the Illustrator class, and it's so cool when you discover someone who's using this daily and who suddenly goes, whoa, so there's all levels. There's people who've never used Photoshop in this class and people who use it daily. And yet everyone comes out with a lot. So it's okay, wherever you're at, this is the right class to be. You'll all gain something, or more than something, quite a bit from being here. So that's cool. Thank you. Herman, you were starting to speak.
Yeah, I'm interested in enhancing my photo collection. And I'd like to know how to change portraits to sketches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So wait. So from a photograph that you take, you want to turn that into a sketch.
Yes,
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's actually filters. There's a lot of stuff you can do that in Photoshop. I don't normally get that kind of a interest or request, but that's two of you guys who at Photoshop in a bit in a different way right now. So that's exciting. Cool. We'll get to a place where I'll show you more of where you can reach that kind of effect. And then there's the, how much you personally put into it yourself, but there's actually just tools and filters that take just about anything and make it look like a charcoal painting or a watercolor. And then you can then hand work on making it more to your style or something like that. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Anyone else who wants to share a little bit? Mira?
Sure. So I'm actually currently, or still, after many years, too many years, I'm enrolled at with the interior design program, the credit program at the City College. And so the Photoshop class there is not part of my, the whole credit program, but I tried to actually take it because it was one of those electives. So I started it. And then after a couple of weeks, I dropped it because everybody was just going so fast, and I felt that I was just not really following. And I have the program now. I'm paying $10 a month for it, which is, a great deal, but it's not a great deal when you're not using it. So I'm kind of trying to figure out here, like, will I keep that program and actually do something with it? Because it's getting to the point that I'm thinking I can do with free programs the similar things that I would need to, which for our purposes, it wouldn't be just architectural rendering, getting an image into another one, making a house look like it is in a location where it's not. That's kind of what we were doing that would be the purpose for me. So I don't know, this is my last chance. I'm
All right.
giving
I just
Photoshop
want to
one
tell
more.
you, I have countless of students who come from both UCSB and City College who come to my class to finally learn Photoshop, and then they go on to do whatever they need to do. So you're in the right place. This class is truly hands-on. I don't expect you to just go and do an assignment and learn on your own. I actually teach you how to do this stuff. You actually walk out of here understanding what I'm going to teach. And a lot of people who get into these, web design courses or stuff like that, and everyone just makes assumptions of how quickly you need to go and do it. And they end up here going, I could keep up. So yeah, and it's not that the class is slow per se, and that's why you learn, but rather because if I teach you something, instead of making you, here's the reason people like my classes, and if you can say that's not how I like to learn, but I don't give you a list of 10 steps to follow to make this photograph I gave you look great. I teach you how to use the tools so that you can make your photographs look great. So meaning, I'll teach you with one of my photos, but the goal isn't to make my photos look great and you end up with a great piece if you follow these 10 steps, because then when you have your own photo, you don't know what to do. Rather, each time I show a tool, I really want you to understand it in depth. So we'll spend a lot of time on how come and why this thing works in a certain way or another. And then you go to your images and you can apply that tool whichever way you want. Okay, so that's how I teach all of my courses. And clearly a lot of people get out of it a lot, and other people prefer other ways of learning. But in that sense, you can take what I teach you and go make, images of a house that's not in a hill, be on that hill. You can take your illustrations and in your book and so on and so forth. So yeah, you're in the right place. So awesome. All right. I personally know the other people who are here from other places, so I kind of know what you're actually. Audrey, have you taken the Photoshop class before? I'm not sure, Audrey, if I've seen you in Photoshop. But anyway, I think most of you guys otherwise know. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to begin to show you, well, first of all, when I'm teaching you stuff and you kind of fall behind and I'm showing you things, the first thing you need to do is ask, because I can't see where you're at. So everyone in my classes knows when they show up, you'll see, but ask me. The last thing I want you to do is to think that, oh, well, I'll just sit back and learn it later or something. No, my goal is that if you finish today's class, you understand what I taught today, okay? That said, one of the huge good advantages of all the good and bad that being on Zoom has is that these classes are being recorded. So at the end of the class, after the whole thing processes, which takes like 6 hours or so or whatever, I post a link, and it's not public. You'll see that the video is on YouTube, but it's not a public link. It's only for students of this class. And you can replay the class to your heart's content. And that is something that has resulted in a huge advantage for people who want to review things or practice on their own certain skills and stuff. But don't let that intimidate you in asking questions, because it's the people of this class who are going to see that video. Okay, so it's not actually out on the internet for anyone to search. You wouldn't find it in any kind of search. Okay, you wouldn't have access to it unless you have the link that I give you. So so one of the questions is, where are those links? Where are the class materials? And how do I actually follow the class if I do or don't have this, the program? So that's what I'm going to address next. Next to last. So I'm going to do that after the thing that I'm doing now, which is actually finish explaining how to use Zoom to learn on your computer. And here's the thing. Maybe you've been on Zoom for 1.5 years like me, or not, but you might have not taken a class where you also need to use your computer to learn what you are watching on Zoom. Like a lot of people take, painting classes, or you attend meetings, but when you actually have to see what I'm showing you and then do it on the same computer, Zoom can become a little bit of an issue, because many times Zoom likes to take over your screen and just fill up, but you guys have to work on it parallel to me showing you. So the first thing I need to do is make sure that everyone knows how to do that. When you're working with Zoom right now, is Zoom kind of filling your screen? Is it really big and you don't see your own computer perchance? You already have it kind of reduced? Okay, so
Sure.
if it's already reduced, then you're great. Move it over to one side and make sure the other half of your computer screen is available. If you don't, and if you have it filling up, one key thing to do is to hit the escape key first so that it disconnects from its edges, and then move the edge of that Zoom window over sideways to be able to have it fill half your screen. That said, when I share my screen, many times Zoom kind of fills everyone's screen again. So at that point, you probably have to hit escape again and resize that new window, which is trying to show itself really big, and then make that space again. So when I share my screen, things kind of go awry again. I'm noticing I don't have my lights on. I'm kind of dark. Okay, I won't do it right now, but I need to go turn my lights on. I'm this big dark face in the way. Okay. So as long as everyone's clear with that, if not, I can show you, but everyone, have you found, Mira, you're okay with half your screen? Everyone's good? All right.
I have 2 screens, which is,
Okay, plan B. The best solution is to have 2 screens. Thank you. You're in the right path when you say exactly what I'm about to explain before. Your thoughts in the right place. So if you have 2 screens on your computer, or if you have an iPad and a computer, or a laptop and a desktop, whatever combination of 2 monitors on one computer, a laptop with an extra monitor, that's the best way, because then you have me on one and you'll work on the other. But if you don't have that set up, then you kind of have to do the share screen thing, because I want you to help open your own software and do the stuff parallel. So if you need any help learning, figuring out how to connect a second computer, a second monitor and stuff like that, ask me. I can help you during break or later after class to do some of the technical stuff. But that's the best way. Now, here's the key though. If you have two monitors, then and it's the same computer, then that's fine. But if you have two devices, so say you connected on your iPad and on your computer, then you need to join the Zoom with both devices, because on one you have to watch me, you need to be connected to Zoom. But on the second one where you're working, you need to connect to Zoom, because I will have to say, we'll share yours. You have a question and I'll say, we'll share your screen. Share your screen means that computer also has to be on Zoom, so that then I can see where you're at and get you to the right place, and then we move on. And the moment that people share their screens is a huge learning moment for everyone. It's not just for you. So don't hesitate. When I say share your screen, I'll teach you how to share your screen if you've never done it. And then when you're sharing, everyone's learning from that. So it's not just like, oh, I don't want to interrupt the class. Rather, constantly people go, I'm so glad you said that, because me, it triggers that everyone's learning from that. But that's why if you have two devices, you need to connect with both. So you'll show up as, as your name twice in the class. All right. Last thing, Mary is the only one right now who does not have your full name on. I need you to put your full name, especially until I really know you. I need to have your name appear with your last name for roster purposes, for attendance purposes. So do you know how to change your name? Oh, perfect. Yes, you do. Awesome. Thank you. Especially because there's another Mary who attends many of my classes, and her name is Mary Mao. And so she also goes by Mary M. And for me to know which Mary is here, I need to see your last name, especially if I don't see your face. When I saw your face, I knew you were not her, but now I wouldn't remember. But mainly it's for rosters purposes, because we need to keep track of attendance, which is my last thing that you need to know. When you, as far as admin kind of work, this is a non-credit class, and thus it's free for you guys, but it is a class that we get reimbursed by the state. The school gets reimbursed by the state for the class based on attendance, not based on you're registered in the class. So you need to attend class. Now, I understand that there's people who need to come and go. They have a doctor's appointment or something's happening. But as long as you attend a portion of the class, so say that you have something happening, and these are long, they're compressed because it's a summer course and we get many hours together. Maybe you have to leave the last hour, or maybe some days you really truly can't attend the whole day because something important's happening. At least try to connect to the Zoom for a short time. So if there's a day you really have to miss, if you can make it for half an hour and then not come, then as long as you then watch the recording when you can, right? Then I can still give you attendance for the day. Otherwise, we don't get reimbursed. And then you watch the video and you get the class and we don't get reimbursed. And that doesn't work, and we'll have to drop you from the class, right? So you have to watch the videos of the times or days that you don't show out. And then when you do show, you'll see that at the end of the class, I'm going to ask you to do screenshots of the work and email me kind of screenshots of what you're doing, so I can keep track of what's happening. Because this is part of a certificate. So this class is part of a certificate, which you might or not be interested in taking. The group of classes, which is digital, Illustrator, digital design techniques, all the classes put together. If you take them all, you get a City College certificate and digital badge. But even if you don't want that and you just want to learn Photoshop, you still are going to get graded. It's a pass, no pass kind of grade. And we don't have exams or official homework. What we have is participation and showing me your progress. So if you show me your work at the end of the day by emailing me whatever, a screenshot of wherever you're at, then that's the participation and the progress. So if you just watch the videos and don't send me your work, then I can assume you're not watching the videos, then I have to drop you from the class. So basically you have to kind of show me that you're doing the stuff. And it's not like you need to get in a perfect assignment. The idea is that to move from where you started to progress, that's the way you get graded. Okay, so just to do better in from when you started. So all right, so let's go ahead, and the most important question, most important software, who has a Creative Cloud subscription and they have the applications installed on the computers they're working with? If that's you, I need you to start using the emoticons, because that's how I do it in class. I'm going to be like having everyone answer in a group for certain things. So go down to the bottom screen where you see the little reaction button, and the only ones that stay on when I ask these kind of questions, see how Amanya raised her thumb? That's going to disappear. Mira too. Those disappear in like whatever, 3 seconds. So when I'm asking for a poll like this, that I want to, usually I'll have, you know, the full class when everyone joins us, I need everyone to raise their hand, which stays up. Or sometimes I'll say, some people raise your hand if you're a Mac people, say yes if you're a PC people, and then it'll all kind of divide, and then I'll see who's on the Mac side, who's on the PC side, and stuff like that. So the raise your hand stays, the check mark, the no, you know, the red no, those stay, but all the little hands and all that stuff, they're cute if you're going to laugh at a joke, yay, and then it'll disappear. Okay, so if you own the programs and you have the Creative Cloud installed in your computer, so not the old versions of Photoshop, Illustrator, but the Creative Cloud, that's the raised hand. Cool. Herman, you're raising your hand, your visual hand. Okay, so did you install it? Do you have the, okay, all right, so those of you who
Can I ask a
Bruce,
question?
yeah,
Yeah, I have Photoshop Elements on here. Is that going to work for purposes of this?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Patricia, a couple of videos next to you, so I kind of sitting right next to you there. She also has Photoshop Elements, and she's been taking my classes for a few years all across the board, so not just Photoshop. But when so in person, I can help her with, she had Elements up, because as I was explaining to everyone how to do it on the regular Photoshop, I could kind of walk behind her and point to her where it was in Elements. But although they are they are very similar in what they can do when you work with Elements at the higher level, because it has different levels in which you work at it. There's many things that you can do that I'm going to be teaching, but visually on screen, it's almost upside down. Like if Photoshop has it up here, Elements has it there. If Photoshop has it there, Elements has it there. It is truly a very different workspace presentation. So if you have not if you're not really good already at Elements, like I have another student who uses it, but he's good at Photoshop Elements. And so when I say something here, it's a new technique, he knows how to apply it in Elements. That would work, but online, I can't support you because I won't see where you are to tell you where it is. You know what I mean? So give it a try, but if you know Elements well, you can find it, but I don't, Patricia ended up, even though for my in-person classes, she has used Elements, in the end, she's using PDI for the other Photoshop ever since we've been online, because it's too hard, because I can't point you to the way to do it in Elements.
Okay.
It's like basically almost like a different program as far as where things are. You won't be able to relate to what I'm doing to yours. Okay, so I would like to say yes, when we get back in school, come along and I'll help you hands-on. But here you'll have to use, those of you who don't have the Creative Cloud, there's 2 options. One option is for free. I'm going to show you all now how to access VDI. VDI is Virtual Desktop Interface. which means you open up a browser, a computer browser, and you access the school as if, you know, the school computers. You basically drive to school on your computer and open up the computer software that the school has installed. And that's how many of the people in class are accessing the applications, and that's perfectly fine. And I'll teach you how to do that. And so whenever I say those of you at home, I mean those of you who have your own programs installed on your computer, because everyone's sitting at home right now. But by at home, I mean your own computer. And then I'll say at school, or, you know, and that means everyone who's on VDI, right? Because the beginning of the class, when everyone's ramping up to get their materials, you're in different places. And then when everyone's got their Photoshop open, no matter where you're at, it's all the same during the class, right? But how you access your materials completely diverges if you have the stuff at home or if you're using the school computers. So, so I would think that you probably should follow on VDI during the class on Photoshop. And then with your free time, look up and see where and how that might be in Elements, or ask me, and now and then I can shoot off a question and answer. But I don't think that unless you're good at this already, you'll be able to follow through. Now, the plan B is if you want to purchase the software, which normally is like $50 a month. If you're a student and you go through Adobe, it's like $19.99 a month or something like that. But if you don't go through Adobe and you go through, I'm going to put the website here on the chat, which is collegebuys.org. So if you go to collegebuys.org, then you can purchase it for $40 for 6 months or for $80 for a year. So when you said you're paying $10 a month, Mira, it seems to me that you have an account for just Photoshop, which is just the photography account, which is more expensive than the student account that I'm proposing, because you are probably doing the $9.99, which only gives you access to Photoshop, Photoshop, Lightroom, and Bridge. Versus if you buy the Creative Cloud, gives you access to 25 applications, which if you're a designer or, you know, interior design, you probably can use many more than just Photoshop. And for someone like Bruce, who wants to, you know, work with illustrations and stuff, you probably want the full range. This is actually cheaper even than that minimal package, which has no student discount. And so it's what everyone pays if all they get is Photoshop. So the thing though is, if you already have a subscription for $9.99, that's usually, I'm not sure if that's a price based on a year subscription or if it's based on a monthly basis, because when they give you a price, they assume a year subscription. So you might need to talk to them to see if you to switch using College Buys, because if not, they charge you for the year that you're not using it or something like that. So you need to deal with Adobe to see if you want to change plan. But anyway, I'm going to share my screen really quickly to show you College Buys, and also to have you guys practice this share screen thing, where maybe now your screen just became full screen or not. And I'm just going to show you really quickly. You go to collegebuys.org and not .com. And it's a consortium of California city colleges. So you have to answer. So if you're a student, you would say, I'm a student, shop now. And then you have to tell them where you're a student, student, not faculty. And then you need to tell them where you go to college, not now, but when you choose it, then you need to tell what your college is. So there's many other pieces of software here that are really cheap, not just, you know, Creative Cloud. But here you go. You would want the Adobe Creative Cloud. And the good news is it gives you 2 subscriptions. Not 2 subscriptions. 2, you can install it on 2 computers. So say that you have a laptop, or from when we used to go to work, you know, and we had one at work or one here. So, or if not, you can share it with a relative, a child, or a friend. Not that I'm supposed to say that, but basically you can install it into computers, Mac or PC, it doesn't matter. It's the same subscription. So for one, what they call a semester, because many, not the summer ones, but the rest of the year, they're a semester, it's $40. And it's, if not, if you want an account for a year, it's $80. You still stay as a student for as, once you take this one class a year alone, that gives you status as a student for a whole year. So you don't need to keep taking continuous classes, but what you need to take is one of the fall or spring classes to not have to reapply. God, I'm looking, I'm getting a weird light at this time where you're not seeing my, I need to find a way to turn on some light. I'm noticing that I'm this dark blob on the screen. I think I'm backlit at this time. I've been teaching all year in backlit, but somehow the sun changed. It's the summer and I'm not getting a good light. Now I look like a monster's light coming from below me, but you can see me a little bit better. I exist. All right. This one's in my eyes. I need to do something else. Anyway, I'm gonna turn that off again because that doesn't work for me. All right, so when you get in here, if you decide where you go, you need to say what school. So in this case, we'll go to Santa Barbara City College. There you go. And then say that you choose to buy the year. Over here, you can select 6 months or 12 months. It doesn't matter which one. What I'm trying to show you is that you need to buy it using your City College email address. So I'm going to type in here in the chat, your City College email address is your username. So your pipeline username, if you don't know it, you have to know it to be able to access VDI, to buy the programs, to get our, to get the class materials. For everything, you need to know your pipeline email, and that username at pipeline.sbcc.edu. So I put it there in the chat how it works. So I just put my username, which is DE Musacchio. Yours is whatever yours is, at pipeline.sbcc.edu. That's the full email address. So you type that in here, and the good and bad news about this is that it is not automatic. If you go and you're accustomed to buying software, you go and you put down your credit card in Adobe, and next thing you know, boom, download the programs. It's very simple, but it's not so simple here. Once you put down your credit card and pay for this here, it even tells you they have to verify you're a student. It takes a little, like 2 days, and for some people 3, for some people 1, but it depends. Like if you bought it on Thursday, suddenly you might not get the answer till Tuesday, right? Check your email that you've used. You have to be checking your school email because that's how they're going to connect with you. And again, you have to use your college twice, and then they will email it directions of how to install, which are very specific to that email. You have to follow a code. It's not through Adobe. So other than how to get it, the price is so much cheaper. It's totally worth it, but you'll spend 3 or 4 days trying to get it installed. And once it's installed, you're totally fine. Okay. Herman, I'm going to mute you because it looks like you have your little pooch barking in the background. All right. So that is, if you do that and download it and install it, then you have to download the class files to your computer as well. And then you just use your computer class files. If instead you choose to join us with VDI, which I'm going to show next, then the class files are already there in the school computer. So you'll divide into people at home and people on VDI. So I know that at least for now, probably you, Mira and Amanya, have the programs at home, and everyone else needs to go to do this on VDI. So I'm going to show you how to do VDI right now. So I'm going to close the Adobe. So you have to go right now. Today, it doesn't matter. I think I forgot to say in the welcome email, the best way to access VDI is through either Chrome or Firefox. So if you have a Mac and you use Safari, which is an excellent browser other than for VDI, I would recommend downloading Chrome or Firefox. If you're on the PC, don't use Explorer or Edge or any of that. It's just not as stable. So whatever you have today is fine, but give it a try if you don't, to download Chrome or Firefox. And that said, VDI sometimes has months where things go by and everyone's fine, and then suddenly we'll have 2 weeks where it gets kind of iffy. Connections are bad, and sometimes you're on Chrome and it won't connect, and then you try Firefox on that day, and the same day it won't connect on Chrome, and then it connects on Firefox. So I almost recommend if we start having issues with it, to have both downloaded on your computer so that you can try one or the other. Some days one works better than another. Let me see, Mary, yes, everything is subscribed now. Well, no, Bruce mentioned Photoshop Elements. Okay, so Mary is asking about subscribing versus owning. And Elements, Photoshop Elements, you can actually purchase and own and keep. And it's I think $79.99. Sometimes you get a discount on it, and it's a one-time payment. But everything else is always just about every other application at this point is always a subscription plan. Hi, Penelope. How are you?
I just didn't want to be late, so I'll just hang out for a bit.
That's fine. So Penelope, though, you have not taken classes with me before. So I would have expected you at 9 a.m. because that's the time I've been explaining all the basics of the class. So get a little bit of a background. Are you comfortable with the Zoom computer classes? Have you done anything like that yet?
I did an overview in December 2 Saturday mornings with Bruce.
Oh,
Brooker.
with Bruce. Okay, you did okay, great. So have you used VDI or do you own the applications?
I have the application.
Okay, cool. So so that's good. If you have them, then I am about to show, I was just showing people how to get them, but you have them. And now I'm going to show people who don't have them, how to access through VDI. And I'll also show you all how to get to the actual class materials, okay? Because if you have the stuff at home, you need to get the class materials. So anyway, I was just sharing my screen here, and I am.
You said you need to get the cognitive?
What's
I didn't
that?
understand that word.
Right now, I'm about to show, I have a few more minutes left with this group before all the people who already know this whole part join us. And I'm going to show you all now
Right.
how to get to the class materials and how to get to use the school's applications, which you don't need because you have. So there's 2 more things I need to show you all. Okay. So
Okay.
first, for the people who do have the applications at home, you need to download the class materials. But everyone needs to access the class materials anyway, even if you don't download them, because that's where you're going to find the handouts, and that's where you're going to find the recordings, the class recordings. Okay, so now go to sbcc.edu. So this is everyone, no matter if you do or don't have the applications. So we're going to go to sbcc.edu to start with. And then here on the left side of the screen, we're going to click on the P for pipeline and sign into pipeline. Okay. By the way, the phone systems have been down for 2 days. If anyone's been trying to call the school at all for any reason, that's why you're not getting an answer. So sign into pipeline and oops. Hold on. There we go. It's coming in. All right, so, oh, I won't be able to sign in. This won't let me in. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having issues with my Chrome won't, believe it or not, let me into pipeline. I have to open a different browser to get into pipeline. So give me a second and I'll share a different screen. Chrome has been a little bit, it's great for VDI, but it's a bit iffy for, so let me change my screen share. All right, So, let me put spotlight mouse on. Okay, so pipeline. And log in to your pipeline. So what I'm showing you again, since I got distracted there by changing my software, what I'm showing you is what you need to do during the week when you need to access the recordings, or when you, if you have the programs installed at home. Right now, you need to download the class files. So over here, if once you access pipeline, you'll see, for those of you who are non-credit students, you'll see the word here, student non-credit. So Mira, for example, who's taking credit classes, you'll just see the word student. Okay, so click on student non-credit or on student. And for Mira, who has a student, and I think Patricia over there, you have to check on one more thing, which is student resources. For non-credit students, we're already here at student resources. I'm going to make the window smaller so you can see it better. Once you're here, over on the right side of the screen, you see the word Google Drive. Now, this is when I'm beginning to show you stuff and I'm just going forward. And if no one asks any questions or stops me, I keep moving forward. But this is when you need to say, wait, show me that again. Or can you
Okay, I
say that
didn't
one more
get there.
time? All right. So
Logged in, but I don't
Mhm.
see that screen.
what's that? You
I,
don't see.
I am logged in, but I don't see that screen.
Okay, so if you're logged into Pipeline, you would have landed here on this page. Are you here in this page?
I don't think so.
So you
Nope.
said you're logged into what then? Did you log into
Well,
SBCC?
Yes. Portal
Okay.
guard,
Portal Guard, did you put in your Pipeline username and password? Hi,
Yes.
everyone. Y'all are showing up. Give me a second. I'm showing people how to get the class files, which you already know how to do, but if you already got them before, I'm beginning to welcome people who are showing up. There's new class files this week, this year, this session. So y'all have to go get them again if you have the applications at home. So
I
where
get,
were we? Penelope.
I'm not authorized to access this application.
Okay, so can you share your screen with me so that I can see where you are so I can help you?
Sure. I gotta
So
see.
you first hit the little share
Share
screen
the
button, which
screen.
is the big, and then there's
Yep,
another button you need to press, which is on the bottom right. There's a little blue button with the word share with white letters. Click on that one. There we
Okay.
go. Perfect. Okay, so the account PLEPOME is not authorized to access application. So is that correct? Is that your correct username? Yeah,
I
there you go.
believe so,
You're in.
but it looks like
Cool.
I'm logged
You're
in.
you're in, you're good, you're in. Now, stop. On the
But-
left side,
Yeah,
on the word pipeline, under the big word pipeline, you see the tab that says student non-credit right above. Yeah, click on that one.
yes,
Yeah, perfect. Click on that one. I'll keep sharing, I'll keep showing it from your screen now.
thank you.
So there on the, stay on the right side, see where it says Google Drive, top right, go up, 2 or 3.
Yes.
You might, it might be hidden from you because of the Zoom window sometimes on that area. Okay, there you go, Google Drive. Okay, hold on, I'm letting everyone in. Okay, so click on Google Drive. Go ahead and click on Google Drive. All right, I'm going to interrupt every now and then to welcome people who are showing up. All right, so now everyone who is using, everyone needs to be here. Hi guys who are showing up. I'll be with you guys in a minute. Just meanwhile, go ahead and open up your browser and access Pipeline, okay? Because everyone has to download the class files. Not everyone has to download them, but everyone has to get here. All right, so I'm just showing people who have not done this before how to get here. All right, so this little switch between Google Workspace apps is just like a little advertisement. Go ahead and go say got it at the bottom of that thing to get rid of it. Some of you maybe got this and some of you didn't. It's just because you haven't used it before. Okay, now on the left side of your screen, see how it says new priority My Drive shared drives on the very far left of your screen now? Move your mouse to the far left. Okay, now down, down, down to the word shared drives. So shared drives, two up. Yeah, everyone hit shared drives. You don't need to open it, just click on it. There you go. So congrats, you're in. Yay, say got it. I didn't know that you got it. Congratulations the first time you got in there. All right, say got it, do that. Cool. And here you go. This Photoshop shared drive is where we have our class files. So stop there for a minute. Don't move forward. I want to welcome everyone who's arriving that I have not been paying attention. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you guys. For the most part, I know all of you guys and you know how to get everything, but actually Vera, hi. I don't think I've seen
No,
you in
we haven't
Photoshop.
met. I didn't know about accessing Pipeline. I thought it was just the I have a subscription and downloaded Bridge, but I don't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
no,
Sorry.
that's fine. That's fine for everyone who has their own programs. You don't need to get to the actual applications, but you do need to still come here because those of you who are at home have to download these files at home. Sorry, those of you who have your programs, which is why I consider at home. So Vera, if you have the program, you would be considered at home. You have to download files onto your computer so that you can use them during class. The rest of you who are going to be using the school computers already have it. So this is when it matters. First of all, go ahead and Penelope, by the way, if anyone wants me to call you something other than what your name is, so if you don't want Penelope and you want a nickname or something, I mean, let me know. Otherwise, I'm calling you by the name that I see on the screen. So double click here, this Photoshop shared drive. And I'll show you again how to get here, Vera, but right now, okay, so once you're in here, there's notice that normally the first thing that you'll see on the left where it now says Painted Hills, normally what you'll see there on the left or somewhere up here will be that three images to the right, it says Zoom class recordings. Okay, do you see how the third thing after the photo of the hills and the babies is in Zoom class recordings? Yeah, so double click on that guy. And as you can see here, there's a list of days, each one of the days that will be in class. And right next to day one, at the end of today, or for sure by tomorrow morning, you will see a link. That link, when you click on that link there, it'll take you to the recording of this day's class. Okay, so for those of you who just showed up who don't know me yet, I just want to I guess at this point it's just Vera. I just want you to know that this class is being recorded and that it'll be available right here for everyone to watch. It takes a whole bunch of after this class I teach Illustrator, and after Illustrator I process the Photoshop and the Illustrator classes, and so usually it takes 6 hours for the videos to process and get captions. And so basically by Saturday morning, sometimes you'll see the link earlier. You might see that I put the link in there on Friday night, but if you click on it, the video is still processing. So, but for sure it'll be working by Saturday morning. When you click on the link, the video will be working. Now, why I'm showing you this is because if you all know, most of you know already, but if you miss any part of the class, you need to watch the video, okay? So this is a good time to tell you all that the best way to use this video is I don't edit it. The video that shows up is from the beginning when I say hello, good morning, until we say goodbye and leave. So it's a whole bunch of hours of a recording. So if you just want to review, if you've missed the class, you just have to sit through it. But if you just want to review a portion of it, the best way to do that is to say, okay, oh, she's talking about something that I know I'm going to want to go over again. So you look at the time, and right now it's 10:04 a.m. So you take a notepad and you write 10:04 a.m. She talked about, I don't know, adjustment layers, or she showed me masks or something, and you write down the time, right? So right now at 10:04 a.m. she's showing the Zoom recording links, right? So you write, make a little note. And then when you watch the recording, you know, the class started at 9. That means you have to scroll up for an hour, you know, go fast an hour in. And that's about when you'll find me talking about how to access the class recording. Does that make sense? You'll have to compensate the schedule in your head, but that little writing down the time really helps. Amanya, is that a question that you raised your hand, or is it a leftover from before?
It's leftover, sorry.
Okay, great. No, I'm just clearing it out because I looked up and I saw your hand. All right, so thank you, Penelope. Can you close this link now? Because we don't need it right now. There's no link. So go up to the tab a little bit higher up where you see the tab, the Zoom class recording lives, and that little X right next to it, and you can close it out. Not from there, but up to the very top, right when you hit the screen where it says Zoom class recording. Not there. No, 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 no. Don't close your browser. Keep moving to the left, your mouse. Yeah, a little bit further to the left, and there's this little tab, the word Zoom class recording links that shows up at the top. Yeah, a little bit higher. I don't know how to explain how to get, yeah, there.
Oh,
One to the
don't
right.
touch
Now
that.
move one to the right and you're in Photoshop. Yeah, click on that one. I wanted you to get back there. Perfect. Click on that. Thank you. All right. So here we are back in the class files. So, oh, I'm noticing that you have 2 folders. So see how under the word Painted Hills, see how you see Photoshop class files? Hover over it for a second. And that the first one says Photoshop class files summer 2021. The other is from spring. So don't, yeah, I need to move that one out of the way, but it's still there. So the first one, Photoshop class files, move to the left. Okay, guys, by now, I've given you time by speaking about other stuff. Everyone should be here. Now, who needs to do the next step? Only people who have the application installed in their home computers. If you have a Creative Cloud subscription, you need to do exactly what Penelope is doing, which is right-click on this folder, Penelope, because you have the applications at home, and then see down there where it says download, click on download. So everyone has to download that folder. Now, see how it says preparing, zipping the file? It'll take a little while. These files are the files that you will be using for class, so it'll take a while. So we'll just wait it out while I talk. Now, if you are using the school applications through VDI, you do not need to do this step. Do not need to do this step. Now, these files are big, so I highly recommend that you get rid of them after the class is over in 6 weeks. And in fact, if you still have the files from spring or from the fall, you know, those of you who have been around for a while taking my classes, get rid of the old ones, because one of the advantages and why people keep taking my classes is because I change images that I use all the time. But then you end up having a ton of images, raw images, things that are big sitting on your computer that you shouldn't be using. Okay, stop for a minute. Opening class files. So stop. Well, don't say okay until I explain this. Look at her screen, you guys. If you're on a Mac, it just opened, this process happens on its own. So if at home you have a Mac, then the zipped file, which is like, it's compressing all the files together to download, they just kind of open up on their own. But if you're on a PC, you get this question. So you need to go to the second one to save file. You don't want to open these. You want to go to save file. Now, if you're on Chrome, it might not ask you this. She's on Firefox, but if you're on Chrome, it might not ask you this step. Okay, so now you can say okay. And if you're on Chrome, you might have to go and unzip your files in the Windows Explorer. So, okay. So now she completed her download process. And as long as you are using stuff from home, now you can get rid of this browser. And so go ahead and close the entire browser so that it's one less thing on your computer. Guys, Photoshop, Illustrator, all these photo programs take, yeah, go ahead and close everything. Take a lot of take a lot of computer power. So please try to have other stuff that you don't need closed. So if you're, you know, watching movies or you have many tabs because you're shopping, close it all down for class. When you open it up, they'll still be there. Okay, so that your computer is reduced in its need of power during class. All right, now I was gonna show you how to access the files. But you stop sharing, which is totally fine. I'll show them myself, but if you downloaded the files, where they went 99% of the times, unless you changed, is to your downloads folder, right? So that big file, if you're on a Windows, is still showing up as one file. You need to, what's it called on Windows? It's not unzip, on archive, de-archive, I don't remember the name on, what's it called? Extract. Thank you. It's called extract on a Windows machine. You need to do that step. So if someone doesn't know how to do that, they can share the screen. I can show you because I'm on a Mac and I can't demonstrate that, but I can demonstrate it for you if you share your screen. So go to your Windows Explorer, you Windows people who had to do this step, and see if in your downloads you see a file. And if you don't know how to access it, then someone share their screen. Oh, Penelope, there we go. You're sharing your screen again. Perfect. Okay, so look. So stop for a minute here. Let me just show you what she did. If you don't know how to get here, can you close this window again and show people? Some people need one extra step of help. Yeah, close that. Thank you. So what she did, oh, when you close that, the share stop. Oh, because you're sharing a window only and not your desktop. Sorry. I wanted you to share. Can you share your desktop instead of just that window? That way people see how to get to
I know
that.
how.
Actually, go ahead and say share screen again, and then
Where's my
the
share
green
screen?
button. And then when you see all the screens available, top left one is usually called desktop, and that would be the one you would click. And then
Well,
you click
I
the little
see
blue.
Screen, whiteboard, iPhone, launch meeting.
Okay, then just screen. That's fine. Then go with that one, and that's good.
Share, okay.
Perfect. All right. So I'm seeing down on the bottom row of her taskbar, she's clicking on the File Explorer. So if you're a Mac person, on the bottom row, it's called the dock on the Mac, you would click on something called the Finder, which is a little half smiley kind of icon that's the furthest left. So the Finder on the Mac is equivalent to the Windows Explorer. Okay, so now she is on a Mac PC, so she's clicking on the Windows Explorer. And then here on the left side, she's going to the word downloads. So on a Mac or on a PC, on the left side of your Finder or your Windows Explorer, you have to click on the word downloads. Okay, click on that. Cool. And now if you're a Mac person, your files are already in a folder called class files, but notice over here, she has like a little, I don't know if you can tell, but her Photoshop class files have a little zipper on them because they are zipped. So you need to double click on that. Give a little double click there. Yeah. And then at the very right above you, select that folder. And then right above you, there's a little window that says extract all. Go ahead and click, like go up, go a bit higher with your mouse and now to the right, to the right, to the right. One more inch to the right. And there's a standalone. Nope. Where you were before was fine. Now just to the right, outside of that window. Keep going to the right. Yeah, there you go. Extract.
Okay.
On that. Click on extract. All items in this folder.
Double click.
Yeah. Double. Go back to, yeah. So go back to downloads now and see if the unzip. You'll find, you know what, where you'll find it. You can also go. You can also go move your. Bring your mouse back to the folder. Yeah, right above the Photoshop class files folder. No, move your mouse back to where you are. Yeah, and then right above, just barely up where it says Photoshop class files, see the word downloads? Right above, like, yeah, click on there. Double click. Perfect. And no, it didn't extract. Do a right click on it
Double
instead.
click.
So instead of double clicking, try to right click. I'm trying. Yeah. Try to right click, see if you can extract it that way. Okay, some Mac person, some PC person. Now you jump to a different folder there. So go back on your arrow. Yeah, trying to, okay. Extract to, for some reason it looked like it extracted, but it's not. You have to select the folder first. I don't know why it's not extracting. Double click the folder Photoshop class files and let's see. Just double click it. So those are the files, you have them, but I think they're still in extract, they're still zipped mode. I can't tell. Let me just go ahead and as you can see, there's a question. I'm requesting remote control of your screen. Everyone who needs to follow the, can you click on yes on that for a second? Okay, so don't move your mouse for a second. Now I'm the one moving the mouse. I want to make sure that we get those files working. So the downloads is not the place these things should be anyway. So I'm going to throw them in her documents folder. Okay, so I'm going to drag them over to her documents folder. And we're going to go and find them in her documents folder. And let me, is it still transferring? ABC, what do they call them? Class files. There they go. So see, they were not extracted and it drives me crazy. Why is, there we go. You hadn't double clicked in here. So select the destination to extract the files. We're going to browse. We're going to put them in your documents folder. Select folder. Okay, so basically it was working. It's just that you had to double click in here and somehow it hadn't happened. So now it's actually extracting. Now this is not something that matters to Photoshop, so that's why I'm doing it for her. I would never do anything in Photoshop for you because you would not learn. This is just trying to get the files to be set up. There it is, Photoshop class summer files. Now they're in your documents folder. Now I'm going to stop your share. Thank you so much, Penelope, because I did not have a way to share this and show this myself. When we get to have to open the files, now you know, under the documents folder under the P, because it's called Photoshop, that's where you'll find all your class files. All right, let's let everyone else in. Okay, and then anyone else who needs help with downloading the files, you guys? On the Mac, it's much easier. You don't need to extract, they're there. And if they are in the downloads folder, then you can work from them from there. I always recommend dragging them to the documents folder, but I'm not going to work with file management right now.
Did you show the path to get from the files from Pipeline so I can get it into my Mac? Is it in the recording?
It is, but let me share my screen and I'll share one more time really quickly. So you get into Pipeline by, do you know how to get into Pipeline to this window? Or do you need to get into this?
I've never done it before, so I'm writing it down.
Okay, so I'm going to sign out. And so you need to go to sbcc.edu and then hit this word Pipeline. And then you need to sign in to your Pipeline account. And everyone write this down as a recording. Plus I have a recording of this, solely of this part, that I'll email you right after class is over so that you will have support to know how to do this as soon as class is done. And then over here, click on student non-credit. And after you hit student non-credit, on the far right, you'll see the Google Drive. And don't worry to write it down. I'll send you a handout with everything written down. I'll send you a recording. Just do it because you need these files. So it's not about taking note. Just get it done and get these files on your computer. All right.
Okay.
Once you get to this spot, you go to the shared drives here on the left. So once again, you go first to student non-credit, hit Google Drive. And when you click Google Drive, you have to go over here to shared drives. All right. And that's about it. I think almost everyone who's going to join us has joined us. Now that Annalyn is here. All right. So when you're in shared drives, you should see one folder, the way Penelope could see, not 25. These are all the guys I teach, but you should see one, which is called Photoshop Shared Drive. And it'll look like that. Okay. So double click on that one. And here you are. And it's this first folder that you need to right click and download, the first Photoshop class file summary. So Alan and anyone who just showed up, There are new files for this class, so you need to go and download them again, and you
Okay.
know how to do that. So go ahead and get the new folder downloaded. I highly recommend deleting the folder from before because there's a lot of raw files in here and stuff. So you don't want to keep them hanging around your computer unless necessary.
Okay, and
All right.
I may have to leave for a few minutes to retrieve my second screen so I could have a 2-screen operation.
Okay, no problem. I'm just letting you know because I know that you know this part, but just warning you that the files that you have don't work, that you need new
Okay.
files.
I'll get the new ones.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Thank you.
everyone who just showed up while I was helping with getting the files, don't forget to go to the chat and sign in. We're running a little bit behind with the first group. I only have one more thing to do, which is to get a few people onto VDI. So remind me, everyone who is on VDI. I know now from the people who just showed up who's on VDI, but everyone go down to your little emoticons or whatever, those little feedback, non-verbal feedback buttons. This is a technical word. Go to them and please raise your hand if you're going to be using VDI. And using VDI means that you do not own the Creative Cloud subscription. Because now I am going to get you all onto Photoshop, and it's only a few of you guys. Most of the people who've taken my class before have decided to purchase it. So at this point, there's not that many who are on VDI anymore. I'm going to change my share, and now we're going to go to VDI. Where's my Google Chrome? Okay, so let's go to vmview.sbcc.edu, and I'm going to type this in the chat. And if you can each of the link, click on the chat link, and that should work as well. If you just go to the chat and click on that link, that takes you there. Because sometimes when people type this in, don't go to any of these helpful suggestions that Chrome has, please. Don't go to anything like that. Just type the entire thing in and then hit the return key. And once you hit the return key, if you have any questions, please stop me. You should be on the screen. If you fall behind, don't ask me 10 minutes later when I'm done. Ask me right now. Okay. So here we are. VMware Horizon has two sides you could push on. We're going to click on this one here on the bottom right, VMware Horizon HTML access. And now is basically you're driving to school. You're getting into the computer lab at school. Put in your username again, which mine is already memorized, and password. Log in. I'm gonna not save because I need to demo this. Once you're in this spot, is everyone with me? I'm seeing only 2 hands, but I think it's 3 or 4 of you guys who are doing this, right? Please put your little raised hand so I know. I need to visualize who's on VDI also, because as I explain and demo on VDI, I need to kind of have a good idea of who else is following. Patricia, you're also on it. Yeah, that's true. All right, so we're gonna hit the word student desktop. And this is where it's going to take a little while. But other than that, we're almost there. So everyone who's at home, you should have at this point all the files downloaded and extracted. And go ahead and open Bridge and Photoshop. Open Bridge and Photoshop, get your computer set up. We're almost there with the VDI people. And then we will be able to go, yay, we're finally in Photoshop. So while this, which is the one part that takes a long time, is happening, how's everyone else doing? Nice to see you guys. I was busy teaching when you all popped in, so I just wanted to give you a big welcome to Photoshop again. Some I've seen you barely last week, and some I haven't seen for a whole session, so nice to see you again. Anything fun happening? Was anyone near the fire? No? I was telling my people who showed up in the morning that it was kind of a funny story here. I thought the fire was next door, the way my husband came running in, fire, fire. And I was teaching. So we ran out and we look to the right and there's the fire down the street, way on the other side of town, right? But straight down our street, because I live on Coda Street, and you're just standing on my street and it's like this huge ball at the end of my street of fire. And it was the TV hill, of course, but made for great photos. With a long lens, we have really good photos of the thing, but it was not near my house, so I was fine. All right. As you can see, this step takes a while, which is why for all VDI people, try to connect to VDI before class starts so that once class starts, everyone at home opens up Photoshop and VDI, and this portion right here is the longest portion. It takes a long time. After that, we're set. So do all of this, or like when you first sign in, while we're saying hello and people are asking their questions, you get this running. I will send you as homework, not as homework, I will send you an email with some homework things, but in that email, Vera, since I know you noticed you were taking, I will have the links to a recording of this exact process of how to get to VDI. I'll be with you in a second, Mary, and I will send you a link to a recording of how to download the files. So anything you missed, you have 2 little recordings of just that bit. You don't have to watch the whole class for that. And I have a written handout telling you how to do this. So all of that is in an email that is ready to just zoom out after class. Okay, so you can practice this. Yes, Mary, what's your question?
Am I in the right place?
Mm,
I'm holding up my laptop.
yeah. So remember I said that you need to be connected on your other devices for me to be able to help you, because you need to share your screen. You're gonna have to connect. Let me pin your
wouldn't
screen and see if I can
work.
see
It
it
just-
bigger.
Yeah,
Hold
it
on.
wouldn't work. So maybe you can thumbtack me.
Hold on, I need to try to see this bigger. 1 second. Okay, so speak up again and let me see if your screen,
Hello,
go ahead and
hello.
speak.
This is Mary speaking.
There you go. That forces you up. Okay, now I spoke again over you. So speak again so that your screen, I'm trying to pin you, but your screen isn't.
Hello, hello.
There we go. All right, so you are, yeah, for some reason it's not.
Okay, what I am seeing is,
I'm forcing you in. Okay, now I pinned you. All right, so you're showing me a browser. Okay, so student desktop. See the top left, the topmost button? That's the student desktop. You need to click on student desktop. And it's going to start spinning, and all the time that it spun for me on a Chromebook, it's going to spin even more, but you'll get there. Okay, I was just not able to see you. I pinned you now. Now I was able to see your screen. So
thank
the
you.
problem,
Yes, I tried the second connection and I couldn't
yeah.
load my portal page. It was just too slow on,
yeah. So here's the problem.
I'm on a hotspot. So I'm on a
Yeah.
hotspot and the 2 Zoom connections is not going to work, I don't think.
So then that's going to be harder. But if you ever need support, which you will, like you just did, that doesn't work. So then I'd recommend connecting only on the Chromebook and having to maybe share your screen or using a phone to listen in so that you can listen on that or something. I don't know. Chromebooks are really small to have a screen. But it'll have to work that way. Or Gabriela, who was here before, she had to step out. She has an appointment. She'll show up. She has that problem too. So what she does is she's learned how to connect. So when you need to share your screen, when she needs to share her screen, then she tells me she's going to need to share her screen. She takes a second to connect. She shares her screen, and then so she's got it down to science, and so that'll maybe be the only way to make it work, because otherwise I won't be able to support you. Hold on, I forgot that I haven't opened Bridge yet. I'm talking about this and not people who are here now. VDI, we need to open the programs. So go down to the very bottom left part of your screen where you see this little icon, the Start Windows icon. Click on that guy, and then you have all of the Adobe programs here. Click on Adobe Bridge, and let's get Adobe Bridge up and running. by clicking on Adobe Bridge. I'll explain in a minute what Bridge is and everything, but go ahead and open it. Because everyone at home has already got Bridge open. And once Bridge is open for the first time, I'm showing you how it looks when it first opens. It's kind of floating like this in the middle of your screen. Okay. And what you're seeing is probably something like this. All right, so I'm going to wait for the 3 people whose hands are raised, plus Patricia, whose hand isn't raised, but I know is also on VDI. Are you here? Is Bridge open up already? Oh, Mary, I know you're still trying to connect. Bruce, is Bridge opening up? Where are you?
I am having, since I don't have all my login info in Firefox or Chrome, I'm having to locate my login info and then re-log in. So go on without me.
Well, yeah, pipeline is yeah. If you're having issues like you can't get in, then you might need to get. The only thing I can't help you with is with your password with your pipeline account. Tech support has to help you with that. So if you can't get in, then so be it. Watch the thing, and then during break, maybe go and try to get onto tech support. Let me say that this is a good time to put the tech support option up on screen. So let me tell you guys what's up for summer, because in the spring and fall session, we had many hours of tech support. The hours are reduced now in summer. Let me go find the new schedule, because I have the way I have the way how to tell you, but I don't have here we go. Jason, hold on, because they changed the schedule. I know, and they just emailed it to me yesterday. They're like, oh, we're figuring out a new schedule. I'm like, well, class already started for us. We need the schedule now, not yesterday. Here it is. No. He didn't tell me this. Here it is. You can access them 8 to 4 p.m. So this is tech support. That's not the Zoom tech support. So I just copied this portion into the chat, you guys. Anyone who needs tech support, that's the schedule for the summer, which is reduced. In the winter, they were going till like 9 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. So now it goes till 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And then Friday, just to 4 p.m. So basically, pretty much, instead of 4:30, 4. So Monday to Thursday, just to 4 p.m. And this is not the Zoom link. This is just if you need to call them or if you need to link on that email that's there to write about a problem. But they also have, there is also a one last one, which is a Zoom link, which is a computer lab. And this is the second one. So you guys copy this that I just wrote, like on the chat. If you go and hover over what I just wrote, there's 3 little dots that appear. You can click on those 3 little dots and hit copy, okay, in the chat, because once the class is over, the chat disappears. But this is important information. So you go to the chat, click 3 little dots next to what I wrote and say copy, and then go and open up some notes or Word or wherever you write things on your computer, even you email it to yourself and paste in this information, because this is how you get support. The second one is a link to a Zoom session that is running all the time. I believe during that same schedule in summer, and you connect to Zoom and there's an IT person there who helps you work through your problems. Okay. So hopefully everyone knows how to copy that information from the chat and has it written down somewhere so that if you're having troubles, you can have a way to get help.
Hello?
All right.
I see
Okay,
Safe
so
Excuse me. I see Safe Chat or
that
merge meeting
is,
window.
there's actually
Chat.
one more link. This is the direct Zoom link, what I just am writing right now. So hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the last one I wanted to give you. So that link that I just gave you, the last one, again, if you click on it right now, it's not going to work. You're in the middle of Zoom. You need to copy this. So go to the three little dots, copy this whole thing, and then put it somewhere important. And then when you're running into trouble, you just click on that link during the day and it connects you to Zoom to tech support. The other two are how to get it through email or through phone, or how to get to the website with tech support. This is the actual link that if you click on, Zoom connects and someone on the other side opens up and goes, yep, how can I help you? All right. All right. So y'all have that now?
This is
Yes.
Mary Megrant.
All right.
I don't see
Oh.
3 little dots on a Chromebook.
Say that. Can you say that again? I'm sorry. My phone, my headsets were off.
I don't
Didn't hear
see
you.
3 little, my Chromebook doesn't give me an option.
See if you can right click and copy. Otherwise, but you know what? I'm going to write it down to email you guys this thing.
I copy and paste into an email to myself is what I'm
Okay.
doing. So I have a
Okay.
workaround, but it's clumsy. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So still, I'm going to email these links to everyone after class. I'm going to add that to the email. Okay, so I made a note for that. All right. Oh, everyone is coming in with their second computers now. Sorry, I was busy with this and I didn't admit you there. Now I admitted you with their second computers. And yay, cool. So ready to go. Penelope, yes?
Yes. First of all, how do you pronounce your name and how would you like us to address you?
Diana. It's fine. Diana is my first name. Thanks for asking. It's Diana how it's written, but it's Diana because I'm from Argentina, so I say it in Spanish. But any which way you say it is fine. And yes, it's okay. Some in the credit side, people call me professor and all those things. Here, non-credit, just call me Diana. I don't know why it's different, but it kind of seems that way.
And on the chat, where you hit the 3 dots, I have save chat or merge to meeting window. I don't know what merge.
Okay,
meeting
I see what you
window-
mean. Yeah. So the 3 dots that you're seeing in the chat are the ones that say save chat, which is another option, which is in the bottom where you're about to write. But actually, if you go up into the messages and hover next to the link where I wrote, Zoom link to tech support or students can join, there's 3 little dots right there. Those are the 3 little dots that I was referring to. If you
don't
click
see
on the 3, yeah, so if you don't, I don't know. This is the one thing I can't share. I can't share Zoom. When I share my screen, Zoom, you don't see. So I can't show you this portion. If you save
There's-
the little save chat that you said, then that's a file that goes into your computer and then you have all these links, but it's not easy to find. It goes and saves itself into
Yeah.
your documents folder. Just copy and like Megan's doing and
I put it in my.
sorry, Mary.
notepad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
like
right,
Mary.
that's the best.
There's
way.
also something called Google Drive.
What's that? Something called what?
Google Drive as an option.
Oh, yeah, but that's a whole nother question. So just let it be. We're gonna deal with the Google Drive now, but I don't want to make it.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, guys, let's get to our files. Let's get to work with Photoshop. Thank you for your patience, everyone. This part, it is over. Everyone now has their files. We're in VDI. Bruce is not still in VDI, right? So I don't know how to help you if you don't know how to get into your
Well,
pipeline account.
No, I'm in my pipeline account now, and
Oh.
I did the VM view, and I clicked on the student desktop, and I didn't find anything saying Adobe Bridge. I'm on this page which just has a nice, lovely blue window.
So you have this window
Let me
that I'm
move mine
showing
back
you.
to yours. Yes, I'm on that page.
Okay, great. So you're almost there. Almost there. Perfect. So now take your mouse and go, let me bring a little spotlight to the tip of my mouse. Now take your mouse to the very bottom left of your window. Do you see down here to this little icon?
Yep.
Click on that.
Wait,
And
I'm
that's where
sorry,
you'll see it.
I couldn't see the actual icon you clicked on.
Okay, it's the little Windows icon.
Okay,
It's
got
the
it.
4 little boxes.
Yeah.
Clearly you're a Mac person.
Yes, I
And now
am.
that'll, yeah, I know for Mac. And then don't worry, once you're in Photoshop, it's all the same. But this
Okay.
portion takes a bit, and then hit Adobe Bridge. And that's what
Got
brings
it.
up Adobe
Okay,
Bridge.
now I'm there.
Yay, the whole class is together now. Okay. Finally, this is the point where we move forward. Yes, who's speaking?
One clarification, I am on Zoom on my Chromebook,
Mhm.
and for some reason, the little bottom margin when you screen share doesn't show. So I do not see what you're clicking when you click on that Windows icon, but
Okay,
I know that's a problem for me. So just if
all
other
right,
people
so
be running
yeah,
into it,
and
I want.
ask
that.
me, stay after class for a few minutes and remind me this, because there's a settings in Zoom that you can change to help you with that, but I don't want to spend time with that right now, but
Okay.
remind me to ask you. But thanks for letting me know. Yeah. So did you open Bridge? Mary, does everyone have Bridge open?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So when Bridge first opens, it's, and this is for everyone. Now I'm speaking to everyone, okay? We're completely done. Everyone's in the right spot. When Bridge first opens, this is something that no matter how many times I explain it to you, many of you guys don't dare do yet. So people who haven't tried this yet, you need to try to fill your screen, because when you don't fill your screen with Mac or PC, you'll see things differently than me and it'll be harder. When we open Photoshop, people tend to have like Photoshop and then Bridge, and they're in different places versus if you just fill your screen. So go over to the far right for you guys on a PC and hit this middle button and it'll maximize. For those of you who are working at home on a Mac, then it's the 3 little, you move to the left side of the window and there's 3 little dots, green, yellow, and red. Hit the green one, and that maximizes your Bridge. That way you have access to all of the tools. And when you open Photoshop, you maximize Photoshop, and then you use the taskbar to switch between one and another. And if you're having trouble with that, ask me and I'll show you how to do it. But right now, with Bridge opened and expanded, we're going to go over here. And if you're on, if you are at home and your files, for example, on Penelope, I put her in the documents folder, click on documents folder. If you're at home with your own subscription, if instead you put them on your downloads folder, put them on, go to your downloads folder, go to this PC and go click on your downloads folder, right? So wherever you guys at home put your files that you just downloaded, go find them. VDI people, we go to this PC. And, oh, I forgot one step. I forgot one step for VDI people. Do you see, you probably have these little windows. Do you see Google Drive over here, VDI people? Or did you not sign into VDI yet? To Google Drive? Yeah, the first time ever when you sign in, since mine is already signed in, it didn't ask me and I forgot to show you. You have to sign into Google Drive. So hold on. At the very bottom right of your screen, and now Mary, I am pointing, see my mouse that has the red light on it? I'm taking it way to the bottom right now of my screen into the black bar. And down at the very bottom, it has little up triangle. Click on that little up triangle. And we should see a little set of icons. Are you able to see this, Mary?
Well, now,
This-
now your screen is showing hold on.
Yeah. Sorry, guys who've already done this. I was trying to prevent this portion with you guys here, but we ended up running up behind. So we're almost there.
I'm seeing a down arrow. Well,
Okay,
is
keep
it
going. I see you. I know the arrow you're seeing. Keep going to the black bottommost arrow. That's the taskbar, the Windows taskbar. And there you'll see like the date. It says 10:46 a.m. It has a couple little icons and then it has a little up arrow that if you hover over it, says show hidden icons. Do you see that? You'll have to share your screen with me, and you can't share your screen. Without sharing your screen, it's really hard to help.
Yes, I'm gonna have to figure it out some other time. So,
Basically, that's okay. I need you to be able to open your Google Drive file stream because I need you guys to find that files. So, guys, give me a second. Let me consult with everyone because if not, I'll send everyone to give me 10 more minutes. I don't want you all to sit there waiting. Those of you who are on VDI, I'm gonna clear your feedback right now. If you're on VDI, do you see, when you click on this PC, do you see Google Drive? You see it, Bruce? Yes, you see it, Patricia? Joyce, you said yes, you see it? Okay. So then Megan, you don't see it?
I do not.
Okay. And this is when I don't know how to help you if I don't know where you're at. So, but did you click on this PC in Bridge?
No, I did not.
Okay, so do you have Bridge open?
Okay, now I see Google Drive.
Okay, good. Fine. So double click on Google Drive, then that's fine. I don't need to send anyone anywhere. This is, if she didn't see Google Drive, I was gonna have to take some more steps, but if she sees it, we're all fine. Okay, double click on Google Drive. All right, now you should be seeing My Drive and Shared Drives. Everyone double click on Shared Drives. Everyone on VDI, double click on Shared Drives. And now you should be seeing just Photoshop Shared Drive. I have it way down here because I have more. Double click on Photoshop Shared Drive. So these steps, this PC, Google Drive, Shared Drives, Photoshop Shared Drive. Okay, that's what we need to do. Now the photos are loading up and all the images are loading up. This is all the stuff that people at home downloaded. Not this yet, sorry. This is the handouts, okay? These are all the handouts that I showed you before. And then the top left folder is Photoshop Class Files Summer. This is the folder that everyone downloaded into their computers. So double click right there. And we are finally at the class files. So I need to hear from my 4 VDI people or my 5 VDI people. Are you here? And if you're not here, tell me where you are so I can help you get here.
Okay, I got lost somewhere in Google Drive. I had to sign in using my Google ID and now I can't find where the shared files
Okay,
are.
thank you. No, got it. Thank you. So that, okay, thanks for saying that. But you guys, all of you 4 who are new to VDI and anyone else who is new to this class, as soon as something weird happens, when that Google Drive sign-in happened, tell me. Because see, since I'm already signed in, I forgot that you'd see that window. And if you tell me immediately, go, oh, that's true, you need to sign in, because since you've never done it, it hasn't signed in for you. So the most important thing, and everyone else who's here knows it already, they know that when something weird happens, they tell me. I can't guess. I'm not behind you like I am in real life. So unless you speak what's happening, I don't know. So Mary, Penelope, Joyce, anyone who's new, Vera, Bruce, when something weird happens, you got to speak out and say, this thing popped up. That way I help you instantly. Everyone else who I didn't mention already knows that because they've taken my classes before, and you know that you speak up when something doesn't work, and then I'm on it right then. Okay, so this is, thank you for saying that, Bruce. You have to sign in. So probably Mary and Penelope and Joyce and Vera, oh no, Vera's at home, are doing, no, Joyce is also on video. You all have that same window pop up. That's your Google Drive sign in. So you need to sign in to that Google Drive sign in. So I'm going to show you all, in case you didn't yet see it, what I'm talking about. You need to, I'm going to replicate what you're going through. Hold on, so that I can have you guys do the steps. So what happened is that at this point, I have signed out. And I've disconnected my account. And okay. All right. So now when your account is disconnected, when you go first to Google Drive, it asks you to sign in. Okay. So now I need to replicate that by signing in again, but it's not wanting, it's driving me crazy. It does that sometimes. It's going to take a minute for my computer to do what's happening to you guys. The system is quite taxed. It's not disconnecting, but it's disconnected. It's not disconnecting, but it has disconnected, which is kind of weird to explain, but it has. All right, so here's the deal. You probably got a good old sign in to Google Drive and put in your entire pipeline email address there, not just your username, but it's username at pipeline.sbcc.edu. Okay, so that whole thing is what needs to go into the Google Drive window that I'm trying to get to pop up, but it's not popping up. But it basically says sign into your Google Drive. Mary, Penelope, did you guys get that? No, Penelope, you have it at home. You have your own
At home, so I'm not on the
yeah,
BCI.
sorry. So
Do you want us to use two?
yeah, no, you have it. You don't have it.
Two devices for the class?
It's much better if you do use two devices, yeah, but it's up to you. If you don't use them, then you have to share half your screen. And I kind of, again, we kind of went over that whole thing at the beginning. So if for the deep explanation, you can watch the recording, but if you do have a second device, you might notice a lot of people are signed in twice. That's the best way. All right, here I go. Finally, I got the window to pop up. So if you have two devices, you need to sign in with both devices so that you can share, because otherwise, like what was happening to Mary, that she can't show me her screen, then I can't give you support. But if you have a second device signed in, then I can support you because I can see, like you did, your screen. Okay. All right. So I'm going to sign in with the browser. Here goes the whole thing, BE Musacchio pipeline.sbcc.edu. Okay, so everyone who's on video has to do this, the entire thing. And then when this comes up, you scroll to the bottom, scroll all the way to the bottom until you say allow. Okay, so everyone hit allow. I can't redo this again. So if you're not here yet, it'll ask you to sign in and say yes down there by saying allow. And that's all you need to do. Now you just can close this whole window. Okay. by going up here and getting rid of it. We don't want one extra window open. Okay, you're done. And that's it. Now your Google Drive is connected, and that's good. So you get this window, and then you get this window here, and we don't need any of these windows. So just close this window up. And you can even close this window up. You don't need any of these windows open. You can close everything up, but you've connected. Then when you go back to Bridge, so down here in the taskbar, I click on Bridge again. Now you'll have the Google Drive. So you can now double click on Google Drive. Shared drives. I need to scroll down. You guys have it up there. Photoshop shared drive. And then the top left, Photoshop class files summer 2021. So mine are popping in quickly because I already was here, but yours take a little bit longer to, but here's the path. This PC, Google Drive, shared drives, Photoshop shared drive, Photoshop class files summer 2021. All right. Now, the last thing I want to say, since most people joined an hour after the first people, I don't want to give a break yet, but the first people who've been here for longer, if you want to at least stand up, you know, kind of twist around your chair and stretch for a little bit. And we'll keep going a little bit longer before I give our break, because otherwise people who've been sitting there waiting for us to get here, the last thing you want us to go on break right now. We're going to jump into Photoshop. Okay. So if you need to stretch out, grab some coffee, come back, that's good. We're in the spot that we need to be. I'm not sure if we are though. Joyce, did you make it here? Are you in this spot? Bruce?
You are good girl.
Okay, so where are you, Bruce?
I logged in to Google with my own personal Google account information.
Oh,
And so it
Yeah.
put me in a strange place. So I happened to quit the whole thing and re-log in.
okay. Well, we're gonna start opening Photoshop while you do that. And yes, I did not say clearly, well, you did it before I got you, that you have to put in your school account. The idea is we're accessing the school computers. So it's always within these classes is the pipeline account. So thanks for speaking that out, because that might now help Mary and Penelope and other people who are connecting, not Penelope, Mary and Joyce. Use your pipeline account when you are connecting, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and have everyone who is already in the files. I want you guys to, Vera, you downloaded the files, so you're there, right? I was just checking in on the people that I don't know.
No,
Lisa?
I'm brand new to this. I have not downloaded the files. I'll have to watch the video after class and then accomplish what I can.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to watch you.
All right, that's too many hours to just watch without doing, but okay. I would rather give everyone another 10 minutes break and help the people who are still not here, so that when class starts, everyone, like class starts, when I open a file, everyone has them. Okay. So can everyone please 100% honestly, if you're not here, you do not have the class files, go and do a little raised hand with the icons. That way I can see you, and depending on how we're doing, I'd rather everyone else who's already there go and get a coffee, walk around the block and come back. What happens if you just say you'll later watch the recordings, which you will, I'm sure, I'm not doubting that you'll watch the recordings, but it'll still be like, you won't be able to ask me questions. You know what I mean? And so if things happen, it's not the same thing. So for the first access, I want everyone to be able to access. Once you tell me you have the files, I know that after that you can watch the recordings and learn and whatever, but I want everyone to have the files here. So if you do not have the files, raise your hand. So Vera, that would be you, and anyone else that, like the little emoticon hand. I'm not trying to single anyone out in a bad way. It's the other way around. When I know that someone needs help and I give them help immediately, the class moves much faster. When I later have to catch people up, okay, guys, all the rest of you who are in class who've been with me forever, you know this. You know to just speak up when something's happening. And if you don't have the files, we don't move forward. And that's how everyone learns. Everyone does learn in this class because I don't let people sit back on their own and learn on their own from a video. So, but I need you to have the stuff in front of me, okay? So I want everyone who has all the files ready to go away for 15 more minutes, okay? So this is your break. Take until 11:15 and come back at 11:15, okay? So if you have the files, if you're in exactly the spot, go and walk around, use the toilet, bring some coffee, pet your dog. Come back at 11:15. And if you don't have the files, let me get you to get those files, okay? Now, someone is joining. Is someone joining with their second computer right now? Perchance, someone with wetlands? Or is it a new person joining? It's not someone from here? Okay, let's see if they can join. All right.
On my other.
What's that? It's your other computer. Got it. Perfect.
And it's my other email address.
Got it. Got it. It's you then. Good. I just wanted to make sure because I don't want to let in people who don't belong in the class. That's the reason the waiting room is there. Okay, so Bruce and Mary, we're going to help you. Vera, Vera, you do have the programs, you said, right? You have the
I do have the
applications at
program.
home?
I have a second device that I'm gonna access it from.
Okay, so for Vera, okay, go ahead and can you share your screen and I'll get you to the files?
Okay, then I'll have to do it from the same computer.
Yeah. For now, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you're in Bridge, but unless you download so you didn't download the files from Pipeline, is right? Is what you said?
No.
Okay, so go to Chrome. Okay, perfect. Now go to that big P in the left that says Pipeline. Click on that. Sign in. Okay, go up to the word student non-credit, which is right under the big pipeline. Yeah. And now far right of that screen, Google Drive. Click on Google Drive. Okay, verify. Say accept. Cool. Now on the left side, see where it says my drive, one under is shared drives. Yeah, shared drives. There you go. Double. Yay, you're in. Say got it because it won't let you move. And now double click share drive. All right. And now right under your mouse where it says Photoshop class files, right under, right, go just down, straight down.
Here.
Yeah. Right click. Nope. Don't open. Go back. We don't want to open that one. We just want to right click on it. Right click and download, which is down at the bottom. Perfect. That's going into your computer now, so just wait it out. When you're done, all your files will be ready in your downloads folder so you can get them from Bridge. Okay.
Okay.
You're there.
It'll go
Perfect.
straight to Bridge then. I don't have to go hunting in my downloads.
No, this is going to go into your downloads, right? So
Mhm.
then once it's down, oh, you're a fast computer, it's almost down. So let's go ahead and wait it out then. Because it looks like it's almost there. So then I'll wait it out. I'm looking at the time, we're fine. Meanwhile, hopefully Mary and Bruce, you're trying to figure it out. I'll be with you guys in a minute. Oh, it was zipping just fine until it was going fast and then the last second was taking a bit longer, but we'll get there.
It was just kidding.
I know it was like, oh, I'm going to show you how fast I am. And then at the last minute, I won't finish it. All right. And now that we're waiting, I gotta wait, because the moment I say stop, that's when it'll be over.
So when it's finished zipping, are you saying that it'll emerge in my
There it is,
bridge?
there it is. No, they're finished, perfect.
Okay, this is
So.
where I usually take
Yeah,
it to my
so
desk.
stop, wait. Don't save yet there. Don't save yet there. Hold on. I teach all the Mac classes too. And I would say you should never save to your desktop, just so you know.
Okay.
And there's a lot of big files in here. So instead of where desktop, go click over there where it says desktop and put it in your documents. So go down a little bit. Oh, you don't even, why don't you have your documents shows available
Here.
handy there? There it is. There you go. And then save in there. And I'll explain. I'll explain. I teach all the Mac classes. If you have things on your desktop, especially if they're big files, your computer begins to really slow down. So don't do that. Okay, so we're done with the browser. You can close all your browser. It's one less thing to have open. So that stuff that's there, you can get rid of it for now. You're minimizing it, and if you're fine, but if your computer slows down, you can. Okay, so now you're in Bridge. Okay, so now what you need to do is go to your documents folder in Bridge. So go on the left side. Yeah, perfect. And then there's the Photoshop class files. They're still zipped. I believe you can unzip them from here. Go try to click. It's that white thing on the bottom. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So now I think that means that it's expanded. So now you can close this window. Yeah, and when you come back here, you can refresh, like go back up to like desktop on the left and then back to documents or something just to refresh. Yeah, and then go back to documents. Huh, I guess you're, the zipping thing part is gonna drive me crazy. On the Mac, it usually happens automatically. Just go back to your Finder then, and let's unzip it from there.
The
So,
Finder?
click on that. Mhm.
Diana.
Yep.
Diana, this is Vijay. I have a problem with the bridge, so I'm struggling.
Okay, give me a
If I'm
second while
not
I
paying
finish.
attention, that's why.
Okay, let me just finish with her and then I'll check in with you. All right, so click here on the left where it says documents.
I clicked on documents and then
Yeah, so in the
okay.
Finder. So in the Finder here, maybe it's still unlocking because you have, I can see because of how your computer is set up that your stuff is in the cloud. And so it's probably still uploading to the cloud. So that's probably why files are
I don't know
still.
how that happened. And like you said, things on the desktop suddenly disappear and I have to go find it in the cloud.
Yeah, you know what? I'm teaching all the Mac classes right now. I know exactly why, and I can teach you why if you have a chance to take them. But right now, I don't have time to teach you that
Okay.
in the Photoshop class. But anyway, click on the word that says documents right there under, like in the Finder.
This one.
Yeah, click on mhm. And then let's go see if the files show up. Go down to the P, scroll down to the alphabetical order to the P. Yeah, you can make that bigger, and let's see if they show up as unzipped. So scroll down a bit more. You're on the D, so you need quite a bit of scrolling there. There you go.
Here.
Photoshop class files. Can you just double click? See how they're going up into the cloud? Yeah, the cloud is them. And these are big files, so it'll take quite a while to get them out of there. But anyway, you're getting there. It's just that they're going up into the cloud. See that little icon there? I'm wondering if we should just have put them in your downloads. It'll be slow to move. So you know what? I'm actually gonna move them. I'm gonna do this. Let me.
Feel free to
Request
take
remote-
my
remote-
screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just requested remote control. Go ahead and say yes to that.
Please. Where,
Say
okay,
okay.
approve.
Approved. Okay, cool. Are you getting, stop moving your mouse so that I can have
I
control
stopped.
for a
I'm not
second?
touching it.
Perfect. And I'm gonna do this thing where I'm going to put your stuff on your The computer now is really Photoshop. When we downloaded them, we should have told it to, let me go back. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go back to this place and see if I can choose where to download them and to download them and instead into your hold on. Cancel download. This is expanding. Okay, and I want to move it to your downloads folder. So I'm going to find downloads folder. Okay. I'm going to drag them there because those will be in your computer instead of on the cloud. Sure, you want to move them from the cloud? Yes, move. All right, so now it's in your downloads. And see, they're already there. Yes, they are. All right, so now over here on your Macintosh, we're in Bridge. You're gonna go to your downloads. Oof, you need my Mac class. You have files in the very wrong place. You have files at your system folder level, which is really not good.
I'm gonna look that up, and if I can, I'll take your Mac class.
Yeah,
Beginning, the 0. Level
yeah,
1.
so here you go. You've got the files. We're there. So I'm going to stop your connection, but you have your files they need help. So we'll talk later. But yeah, no, I seriously, you have files, you have files in the system folder where they shouldn't be. So this is not because I'm trying to get more people in my Mac classes, but because if not, your computer's going to run into trouble. Okay. Bruce and Mary, I'll help you now. Fujie, when you said you're having trouble with Bridge, can you explain the problem quickly? Like
I'm
the
sorry, my
description of
audio's
what the
breaking
problem?
up. Are
No,
you
that's
talking
fine.
to me?
No, Fujie mentioned that Bridge isn't
I'm
working.
contacting the Creative Cloud application place. And I guess I have to
Reinstall.
Mhm.
Well, don't worry then. We'll just access the files from Photoshop for you until you get your Bridge fixed. So this isn't like you can't find the files. This is a Bridge issue that you need to deal with tech support. Okay, don't worry. We'll just do it through Photoshop. All right. Mary and Bruce. Bruce, where are you at? Because I think you might be a bit simpler.
I think I am simpler. I'm on the right thing. It says Bridge. The only problem is.
Share your screen.
You want me to share the screen? Okay.
Let's just because then I can do hands-on.
There we go. Sure.
All right. Okay.
All
So
right, so that's where I am, and I'm not able to find.
Okay, so go to the very bottom little arrow at the bottom left of the entire computer and click on that.
And there was no icon for Google Drive.
Okay, so then go to the search, type here to search.
All right.
And put Google Drive. Okay. Click on up there where it says Google Drive app. Did you see that? No.
Nope, I didn't.
Okay, try again, right? Google Drive. Okay, so now see at the very top. No, yeah. So click on that app. Perfect. Now it's already running. Say okay, but so now on the top left, so you see on the left bar, so where it says Google Drive, click on that one up from where you are. No, you were fine. You were holding on the music. Move up a bit.
Oh,
there,
I see. There
Google Drive, right there. It's not showing you the shared drives though.
Yeah, see, I logged out and tried to log in back into Google
Got it.
Drive, but
That's fine. So it's still showing your own. Okay, so go back to that arrow and I'll see if I can get you. Go back to that bottom arrow. Bottom right of the whole thing.
You got it.
Okay, now click on that little icon, Google Drive right there. Okay, and now go up to the gears.
All right, so I'm still logged in, it looks like.
Yeah, and then say no, don't put preferences.
All right.
Yeah, disconnect, switch account on the left. The top, under your face, to the right now, under your
Here we
face,
are.
switch account.
Got it.
And now sign in, say use another account.
Okay.
No, 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 no.
There it is. I see.
And
That's
now,
Oh,
yeah, don't enable that extension right now. Just ignore it and put in your pipeline
Yeah.
account.
All right. So that's BL.
Okay, people are coming back. While you're doing that, Mary, where are you at? Where's your,
I am a bit
Yeah.
confused. I have the VM Horizon, the Adobe Bridge open, and there are 40 items in my content.
Mhm.
However, that was before,
okay, go, Bruce,
way
say,
back when we downloaded the shared drive, and that had not finished downloading.
okay, then hold on,
those-
Mary, hold
those
on,
are-
Mary.
Those
Hold
are
on,
different
Mary.
files,
Hold on,
correct?
Mary, hold on, Mary, hold on, hold on, hold on. I can't answer you. Let me finish with Bruce because what you're saying means that you're in a tangent that I can't answer with an answer. You're gonna have to give me a second. Okay, scroll a bit little lower down, Bruce.
And
Hit
do
allow. Okay, you're signed in.
Okay.
Okay, close this
Good.
window. All right, so now we need to refresh here. So just go down to like anything else, go up to libraries or whatever, and then go back to this PC. So you close that window from the top, click that little X on the, no, don't do there, go to the top and close it. Okay,
All right.
and then close this window as well. And then now go to this PC. Cool. And now the fourth choice in is Google Drive. See, local, yeah, double click. Okay. And now shared drives.
Okay.
And then Photoshop
Got it.
shared drive.
Okay.
And then the top most left icon, when it pops in, will be the Photoshop class files.
Okay.
When this pop in, wait until all the folders pop in and the leftmost folder, click on double click and then you'll be there. So I'm going to stop your share. Perfect, you're in. So now Mary, you still can't share your screen with me, can you? Because without sharing your screen, I'm gonna have to give up, listen a little bit, but then I can't, I need to be able to help you like I just, in 2 seconds I can help you, but without sharing.
Okay, we downloaded a bunch of files and extracted them, and that took a
No.
really,
No, you didn't have to. That was only for people who were not on VDI. That's why I'm confused. You did not have to do that. That's why you do not need to download your files. You, on VDI, you don't need to download the files. They will disappear. They do not stay if you're on VDI because they don't stay on that school computer. They'll disappear. So you needed to access through Google Drive. So
that was my confusion, why I
Yeah.
have two sets of files. Okay,
mhm. So the ones that you need to use are only the ones that are in the Google Drive. The other ones, no. Okay, so can you access them through Bridge or not? Where are those 2 set of files that you're seeing?
I have a bunch that are now in my documents folder, which is what I downloaded and extracted. But I
Okay.
also have the
But-
bridge
but-
screen, which, okay,
They're in
I
your
have-
documents folder of your Bridge or where?
no, my Windows.
Well, you're on a Chromebook, so you don't
Just
have
that I'm not going
Windows.
to use those. I'm going to use the cloud, which is what's open on my Bridge.
Okay, so
Which-
on Bridge, are you able to see in this path, the Photoshop, Google Drive, shared drives, Photoshop shared drives? Are you seeing them from there?
Yes. This
Okay.
PC, Google Drive, shared drives, Photoshop shared drive, Photoshop class file, summer 2021.
Perfect. Those are the ones we want and you are there. So awesome. That's what we're gonna use. And that means we're ready. And it's only a couple minutes late for what I told everyone to come back.
Yeah.
So now, all right, everyone has the files. So, yeah, that's fine. Everyone who's out there taking their time or having some coffee, come back, come back. The Pied
Diane,
Piper is calling you. The Pied
I'm
Piper
not
is
sure
calling you.
where I'm supposed to be. When I open Bridge, I go to Documents, and then I look for
Uh,
Photoshop zip drive.
mhm. Go to documents and you should see Photoshop. It should be unzipped already. Hadn't we unzipped them in your computer?
Yeah, I thought we did. They seem to be unzipped on my desktop. So am I?
On your
just
desktop?
on
Well,
my,
then go to the desktop.
Not in my desktop, but in my
Share your
document
screen.
folder.
Share your
Share
screen.
screen. How do I?
Sorry,
share
guys,
my-
I called you back. I know she has them though. We just need to find them. This is not a matter of
Where am I? Share
yeah.
screen. Where's the share screen button? There. Okay. Now, what do I share?
Just
Screen,
your
I guess.
desktop. Yeah, your screen. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. So now,
Now,
go to Bridge.
That's Bridge. Document.
Go. I'm trying to. Where had we put them? I'm forgetting who we worked with before. We put
We
them in your
put,
documents folder.
Photoshop and Documents.
Okay, so then scroll up until you find there's a Photoshop class files. There you go.
This is in my Photoshop summer class files. This is my directory.
Documents Photoshop
And I
class
think they're all
files.
here.
Yeah,
they're
they
all
are.
open,
So
right?
why is Bridge? It would seem that didn't we do it on your computer that we extracted them? Was it yours, right?
Yeah.
So go, okay, here on the left side, go up to desktop, let's refresh. Maybe you just need to refresh. Go click on desktop and then back in documents or something. Click on desktop
Desktop.
and then go back to documents.
And-
Maybe it just
Okay.
needed a refresh. Yeah, okay, there they are, Photoshop class files, double click. And they're open. Yeah, you just needed to
There they are.
refresh. It was still remembering the zipped version. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. I'm going to share my screen now. And at a tortoise speed, but we are off and running, guys. By the way, some of the people who have already done all this decided to sign out. That's fine. Don't worry, they'll be back next week. Yesterday for the digital sign techniques class, I gave an hour's time and it worked. And I'm sorry that an hour wasn't enough here in Photoshop. I did spend a little bit of that time, thinks I had a lot of time. I did spend a bit of that time doing an introduction that I should have probably just jumped into getting files. But anyway, so a bit of it is me miscalculating time. But this is how it is, and we'll be fine. And we are in Bridge, and everyone is in Bridge. So what is Bridge? Why did I have you open Bridge? This is a browser. Imagine that in the PC, you use the Windows Explorer, on the Mac, you use the Finder. Well, Bridge is the Adobe browser. And for those of you who use only Photoshop, you might think that you can do without Bridge because, hey, you just find the files in your browser. But Bridge is way beyond just a browser. It also allows us to do a bunch of work inside of Photoshop, including dealing with raw files. So we're going to talk a little bit about what raw files are. You might not know right now what raw files are, but it's it has features that when you open from Bridge, the files, Photoshop already recognizes the kind of files you open and opens them differently. You can open things as smart objects. You can open a bunch of files into different layers in one file. You can do a bunch of stuff, and you can also organize and categorize them. Some of you guys might have taken some of the Lightroom classes in here. Is anyone using Lightroom? Let me actually clear feedback. Is anyone here using Lightroom perchance? Okay, Vera. All right. So no one else. I'm surprised. Usually there's a few more people. All right, so Lightroom is has this one part of Lightroom is that you can organize your photos. It's kind of like it acts a bit as the organizer portion of the elements that Bruce maybe has. And you can catalog them and stuff like that. Well, Bridge is the same thing, except for Bridge works for more than just photography images. So I'm a graphic designer. I am a photographer and graphic designer. And so I use Bridge instead of Lightroom for my images because I can actually catalog also all kind, design files, Illustrator files, in design, film. I'm a film editor and filmmaker and film editor. So I can do much more with Bridge. Lightroom is restricted just to people who only have photographs. And usually it's really useful for people who do massive amounts of photographs, like a wedding photographer, professional. For regular people who maybe only have thousands of photographs instead of millions of photographs, usually Lightroom is much more of a hassle than it is a help. It depends. Really accustomed to Lightroom and you love it, go for it. But if Lightroom has been a hassle for you, Bridge and Photoshop are a better combination for 90% of people. Lightroom is really good for professionals who have to handle thousands of photos for every shoot. Okay. So I'm gonna, I don't know someone's making noise. I'm gonna mute. There we go. So that said, both of them work for cataloging and organizing files, but with Bridge, you, as you saw, have to go to where the files are. And you can move files around and you just go find them. Versus with Bridge, it kind of does this thing with, as soon as you move a file, your whole catalog gets into an absolute disarray and destroy. So that said, it works with files just like Lightroom, and I'm only comparing because usually I have more people with Lightroom. There's only one or two, maybe there's less need to compare it, but even if it's just Vera, it's important that we know the distinction. Lightroom works with raw files. In Photoshop, to work with raw files, you start in Bridge and you open them through Bridge, and then that gets you the same tools that you get in the raw engine that you get with Lightroom. You get them through Bridge to then open up in Photoshop. Okay, so it's kind of the transition between raw files and Photoshop is Bridge. And we're going to be doing a lot of work with raw files. So for those of you who've never used raw files and are wondering what I'm talking about, let me explain what raw files are. Let me first go to my files because of all people, I'm the only one not in my files because I went back and forth a few times to show. Here we go. So now, how many of you have a big old DSLR with lenses and, all kinds of options and buttons and so a few of you guys. Okay, I saw some hands shaking. All right. So if some arms shaking, and I know that some people are still a little bit tuned out because of all the time it happened, but come on guys, I'm back in class, so come back in. Oh, let me let Sue in. All right, so those of you who have DSLRs, yes, you can take raw files and you probably know that. But for the rest of the world who does not have DSLRs, meaning the big old computer, big old cameras with lenses, I kind of describe them like that because some people don't know what it's a digital SLR, right? Then you can also take raw photos. Many of you can do it with your phones. Many of you have little cameras that can do raw files, and many of you can't take raw files. And when you click a photograph, all you get is a JPEG. So what's the difference? Over here, here's a JPEG, and I'm showing you from my screen right now. And a JPEG is that extension that I'm getting the little spotlight from my mouse. Here we go. The JPEG is the extension that shows up at the end of the photographs that you normally take with the camera. Normally, you click, and that which you download into your computer that you see that's on your phone is a JPEG. Now, if you have a camera capable of doing other type of files, then that's the camera that would take a raw file. So what's the big distinction? A JPEG is already compressed. So you grab your camera, you look at something gorgeous, you say click, and then your computer, your camera's computer, your camera, be it an iPhone or be it a DSLR, has to make it really tiny so that you can keep taking hundreds of photos and packing them into that one tiny little thing, right? That tiny little card that comes in a DSLR or your phone. You want to be able to take thousands of photos. And so the computer and your camera compresses that photograph, already losing some quality. So the images that you first see the moment you click are already compressed, are already losing some of that original quality they could have. A RAW file, on the other hand, is the camera taking that moment that it sees and registering it and doing nothing to it. And so the file is much bigger, but it's also not as attractive because the camera not only doesn't compress them, but does nothing else. So it is kind of blah, and it has less attractive features than if you just look at a JPEG, which the camera has not only compressed, but it has also given a little bit of sharpness. It has made it a little bit warmer. It's actually changed the color balance to make it already look kind of better. So that looking kind of better is post-processing, is basically the computer automatically putting some magical, because of the settings it's been made from in factory, some post-processing to your image. So the JPEG has already been altered from the original by the time you get it. Versus a RAW file is completely unaltered, and it's up to you what you do in Photoshop to make it better. So here's the positive of the RAW is that you can get a much better photo at the end of the post-processing than you would when you start with a JPEG. But the negative is if you don't process it in Photoshop, it usually looks worse. It's much bigger, and it isn't compatible with just about anything other than Photoshop or Lightroom or stuff like that. So it's not a photo that you can just suddenly share with social media or send to your mom or put in your newsletter. So if you're going to take RAW files, you need to post-process them. So you wouldn't go around shooting everything under the world with a RAW, because then you'd have to post-process every single find you ever shoot. And if you're just at your niece's birthday, you wouldn't want to be shooting everything RAW. So you would only turn on the option for RAW for files that you think you're going to work and post-process in Photoshop. In which case, between a RAW and a JPEG, you have a final, much better quality. So this means that maybe 1/3 of you guys, 1/4 of you guys are ever going to take RAW photos, right? And the rest of you guys are like, well, why are you talking to me about RAW when I'm not going to take RAW photos? Well, because the processing engine that processes RAW photos is really useful, does a great job, and you can also use it on JPEGs, which all of you guys take JPEGs. If you pick up your phone and click, if you pick up a camera and click, you take a JPEG. So you can use the same RAW tools to process a JPEG. You will not get as good a quality had it been RAW, but it's like saying, yeah, if I could go to the moon, it might be more fun than going to Mars, but guess what? I'm not going to either, so might as well just take a plane. That's all I can do. So if you have a JPEG, you still fly in the air, maybe not as excitingly as going to the moon, but you use the same, idea of propulsing yourself through the air. So the thing is that we're going to teach you how to use the tools. Some of you will use them with RAW, some of you use it with JPEG, right? And when you see the strength and power of it, you might be convinced to take some photos in RAW in the future whenever you can. But we're all going to learn the tool no matter what kind of photos you have that you take. Does that make sense? Now, for those of you who have never heard of RAW before, if you have a camera, just go look at the manual and investigate. Maybe your camera can shoot RAW. You didn't know, but the default way it came from the store, it will shoot JPEGs. You need to get into the settings of that camera and turn it on to shoot in RAW. Okay. Now, this is not a photography class, so I'll let you explore that on your own. If you have questions, ask me. But it's up to you to explore if your photo or your phone, go Google and say, can my phone, which is an iPhone, whatever it might be number, or my Android, whatever, take RAW photos, and you'll get the answer whether the equipment that you own can take RAW photos or not. But for sure, you can all take JPEGs. So over here in the sample files, we have some RAW and some JPEGs And the extension that you see here at the end of each photograph will tell you if it's a JAW or a JPEG or what. And here's where it gets confusing. Or there's two others that you see here. You see a PSD.PSD. PSDs are Photoshop documents. So these are photographs that I've already opened up and processed in Photoshop and decided to leave as a Photoshop document. We'll understand why you do that and why not. A JPEG or this one here that says curiosity whatnot is .dng over there. A DNG is a raw file format. On the very top where it says be on edge .cr2, that's also a raw format. So this is a Canon raw format. This is an Adobe raw format. I don't believe I have a Nikon raw format loaded today, but that would be .nef. Yeah, I don't have an NEF here. So basically, here's the problem with raw formats. There isn't a .raw for raw that everyone can recognize. Rather, each camera manufacturer uses their own extension for raw files. So if you'd have an Olympus camera, it's one raw. If you have so if you scroll down all the way to the R's over here, like they're alphabetical order. So kind of scroll your way down. And then in the middle of the R's right here next to those beautiful rocks, you'll see one file that's called raw extensions Photoshop. Go ahead and put your mouse a single click on it and then hit your space bar. And when you hit your space bar, when you single click and hit your space bar, that becomes big enough for you to see the image. Okay. And just as a quick gander, because every time I say this, I never remember the extensions of other brands. I put this little thing in here. So you'll see if you have a Canon camera, there's two types of raw extensions. It could be CRW or CR2. If you have a Nikon camera, it'll be an NEF or an NRW. If you have a Sony camera, it'll be ARF. So you see, all of these are different raw extensions. So it's really hard to know what's a raw extension since there's so many different weird names, right? So find the brand of your camera, find whatever raw extension your camera takes, and then there's only one missing extension here that's raw, and that's the DNG. And that's because all of these are so different that Adobe decided this is a mess. It's so hard to know what's a raw. I'm going to make one raw format for anyone who uses raw, and that's DNG. And any of all these files can be turned into a single DNG raw file. And that's the Adobe version. So over here, you'll see a few DNGs. I think I had it on the one at the top. I think at the top, this one, the curiosity .dng. That's the Adobe one, which takes any other brand name and you save it as a DNG, and then it's digital negative is what DNG stands for. Okay. So there's a few more distinctions to the difference between any of the others and a DNG, but I just wanted to explain that all these other names that you see everywhere that are also photographs are just based on the fact that they're just different models of cameras that take them. The entire world, though, uses JPEGs as a norm, and any photograph that is a JPEG is made out of pixels. So a photograph registers itself into the camera, into the little chip that's in the camera, the card that's in the camera, as a whole bunch of pixels. And these pixels are like the cells of a photograph. And each one of these pixels has one little color, and millions of them put together give you a digital image. So let's go and open one of these good old JPEGs that I'm talking about. Let's go to this one that says crosswalk. Don't know why. It has a little, that little no in front of it. So when you click on something in, I'm seeing a little, oh, that's different. Okay, I think I was seeing a new icon that I hadn't seen before that I was surprised. When you click on any of these images, you'll notice that some information shows up here on the right side. Okay, and that's the metadata. that tells us when this photo was taken, where it was taken, what camera took it, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into some interesting information here that we're going to want to know about later. Right now, we'll just ignore that. What we're going to do is open it. So we're going to double click on it. So just a quick double click. And what's that's going to do, since you're in an Adobe program, Bridge is an Adobe program,
How
when
do
you
I-
double click, it'll kick open Photoshop. What are you saying? How do you what?
I opened up that extension thing and I don't know how to get it off my screen.
Hit the space bar again. Thanks for
No.
asking. Okay. So,
Oh, okay.
oh, because you must
That
have
works.
double clicked. Yeah. So what she's asking is when you were in Bridge and I had you hit the space bar to make something bigger so you could see it, then it fills your screen, hit the space bar again and it goes down. Okay, hit the space bar to make it big, hit the space bar to make it go down. Now, when you want to open it though, you double click. So everyone go and double click on this crosswalk, please. And when you do that, it will kick Photoshop open because Photoshop is the Adobe program that processes JPEGs. And now we are inside of Photoshop. Now, for those of you who just opened Photoshop for the first time, if you open Photoshop for the first time, it'll look a little bit more like this, but you're going to have all these little welcome kind of messages popping up. So if you have a welcome message or something like that pop up, just say yes, okay, or got it, or whatever they're asking you to click on until you get something similar to this. Okay, so where are we at? Who is not here? For whom double clicking did not open Photoshop? Is anyone not having Photoshop open up?
I'm having trouble finding my Zoom on the alternative device, so I may be playing with different screens.
Okay, but on the one that has Bridge, were you able to double click on the crosswalk and open it up in Photoshop?
Yes.
Cool. So, all right, so does everyone have crosswalk open now?
Mine is still opening. It's a pop-up came
Yeah.
up.
Which says what?
Okay, and now I've been disconnected. So yeah, evidently.
It is possible to do this class with a Chromebook. And as Gabriela just disconnected earlier on, but she does it in Chromebook. I've had 2 or 3 people follow it with a Chromebook, but Chromebook is kind of slow and the Photoshop does kind of stretch its possibilities. So what I find is that people who connect with
Actually,
Chromebooks
the
do end up
Chromebook was on
disconnecting.
the Chromebook, I'm sorry, the Windows laptop was running the Photoshop.
Okay. And that's the one that disconnected?
Yes.
All right, so tell me what tell me what's happening so I can help you. What does it say or?
Okay, the pop-up said, do you want to run this in the background? And I went ahead and hit yes. And now I'm looking at a tab that says VMware Horizon with basically, oh.
Okay.
Here we go.
I don't want to give up on you, Mary, but if you can't share your screen, I can't guess where you are. So I'm gonna keep moving forward. And because if you have a laptop that has running Photoshop, why isn't that one connected to Zoom instead of your Chromebook?
It just disconnected itself.
Oh. But if you're having issues with connection, you might want to just stick to your laptop and not have your Chroma be involved. That way you have less problem with Zoom with internet.
My audio is degraded. I'm not understanding you.
Okay. I'm gonna keep going, and when you you might have to watch this part or ask me after class, because I want to keep moving forward. And since I can't see your screen, I don't know how to help you. So when you can connect your Zoom to your laptop that has Photoshop, then you can share your screen, then I can help you. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's someone else is sharing. You cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
I didn't know you were trying to share. I have to stop, which I just did. I thought you couldn't share. If you can share, go for it. I stopped sharing so that you can share. Okay. All right, so unable to reconnect. Okay, say close. Go to the student desktop again. You have, yeah. It's usually when, yeah, okay, perfect. There you go. You're in. I'll stop sharing. Great. See how easy it is when you can share, how I can easily tell you what to do. Otherwise, there was no way to describe that whole window and for me to know what to tell her what to do. So you guys, whenever I say share, it's a quick fix. It's actually the quick solution to the world to share your screen. All right, good. So now, here we go. We have this crosswalk open. This
You need to share your.
You're not sharing.
Oh,
You're not sharing.
thank you. I always need to be reminded after I stop sharing. You guys, you were so fast. That's awesome. Sometimes I know that I've spoken for like 2 minutes before someone says, we can't see you. So you guys reacted really well. I'm training you. You guys were like, doom, on top of it. You're not sharing. That's how you need to do. All right. So here we have Photoshop. Now, how many of you who are new to this class today have never used Photoshop? I think Mira, you said you used it a little bit. Bruce, have you used it before? A little bit. Mary, are you new to Photoshop? I know everyone else, so I'm just trying to get
Yes,
a
I'm new.
gander. Okay, and Joyce, I believe you said you're new. Penelope, are you new to Photoshop? No, you said you took
I did
an
the
introduction.
And I
You did
tried
the
the
overview.
manipulation and I get lost and it closes up on me and I do something wrong.
Okay, no, that's fine. I think I know. And Herman, have you been doing Photoshop or are you new? Yes. You know what? You said yes and no, so I don't know which one it is right now. So I'm going to shut up and ask you again. Have you been doing Photoshop? Good. So the answer is yes. Thank you. I need to guess sometimes. All right. Okay. So here on the left side, on the very far left, you have a whole series of tools that will be different depending on a very important question, which is, what workspace are you in? Now, what do you mean by workspace? Photoshop is such a huge program that people of all different stars and stripes use it. So, for example, just in the new people that shared with me today, one of them wants to Mira is studying interior design and wants to be able to put kind of recreate things that are not there yet to show the client, maybe a house on a special place or a certain fabric on a certain couch or something like that, that you need to invent because it isn't there yet. Bruce is an illustrator and he does children's books and he wants to put that stuff in digital format. Other people here, someone mentioned making sketches out of their photos. So there's all these different reasons to use Photoshop. So imagine that it's like a multimodal program. And imagine that if you go into a studio where there's a possibility of doing pottery and oil painting and watercolors and sculpture, you would have a huge variety of tools and it would be too much for a small room. So you probably have like one closet with pottery stuff and another area with oils and another with whatever. So Photoshop uses workspaces to open different types of tools for you. So over to the very far right, I'm going to move my mouse way up to the top right corner. There's a choice over here. There's like 4 little icons. The third one, or the second one from the left, this one here, when you click on it, it shows it, there's this little arrow next to it. When you choose that, it shows you many different workspaces. So those of you who just opened Photoshop are probably have a check mark on Essentials. And notice that as we change, like choose 3D, our workspace changed. The choices of what's available changed because we're going to design in 3D. If we go back in there and move down to graphic and web, if you're going to make web pages and do graphic design, you'll want these tools to come on out and play. Or if you want to be working with motion, you can do animations and film editing. Then you want to click on motion and so on and so forth. Notice that every time we change, we get a whole new set of panels over here. But what's harder to distinguish is that we're getting a new set of tools here on the left as well. Okay. Now keep your eyes on, just for a second, look at my screen and keep your eyes down here or in this area. And notice I'm going to change over now to photography. And see how there is a shift here in the tools as well. So you might think that the tools on the left are the tools you have, but no, those tools appear. Like, why would you want a watercolor painting brush if you're about to chisel a stone statue? So you're going to want a variety of chisels. So on the left side, you get the tools you need for whatever your workspace is in. And the same thing with the panels. Okay. So now what I'd like you all to do is to click and change. We're going to move to photography to start with. Now, those of you who are already in photography, you can stay there. But if you are in a very different place of photography, that makes sense, because when you first go to photography, there's some stuff here that we don't need, that people who've already been taking the classes have already gotten rid of. So what do I mean? When you first go into photography, this is the setup that you should be seeing right now, but this one we can't use. And this one called libraries occupies like a huge portion of my screen. Since I don't need it, I want to get rid of it. Okay. So we can go over here to the far right and click on this little icon that has all these little lines. And we can just say close tab group. So if, once again, over here, you need to have changed to photography. And then for those of you who haven't done this yet, then you'll see that it says libraries. I'll talk to you later about libraries, but it's not useful for us. So we're going to go to this little icon here and close tab group. And once you're done, now you have a lot more space down here of that's going to be more useful for us than that tab group.
I don't see libraries.
Now, who's speaking?
Penelope.
Okay, so if you don't see libraries, then, and over here you clicked on photography, then go ahead, go up to your workspace again and say reset photography. If you reset photography, this should be the panel that you see. And one of them is libraries. So now go over to this far right, click on it, and say close tab group. It's possible that when you were in Bruce's class, he also had you close libraries, which is why you weren't seeing it. But now it's all reset to our system each way. So this little change that I just made is showing you how malleable the setup is. You have a beginning, you open up and you have 20 tools and you go, you know what, I only want these 5, but you know what, I also want to use this one that comes from painting and throw it in here. And I want to use that one, and you create your own workspace. But for now, this is a good starter for everyone, and everyone should have the same workspace. That way, when you say something is or isn't there, I know what you're looking at because you're all using the same one. Okay, so this image here that we're looking at is kind of how it came out of a camera, and how it came out of a camera means that it is what we call flat. It's got no layers, nothing. It's just a flat image. And that's why when it first opens up as a JPEG, it just says background and it's got a little lock. This lock means that it's kind of stuck in its place. When you first open Photoshop, the top tool is the one that's selected on the far left. and that is the move tool, okay? And when you want to move this tool, you should click and drag to move something. But when you try to click and drag and move this, it just basically says, no, you cannot move a background layer. So go ahead and click cancel. And that's because it's locked. See over there? So now I want you to unlock this background layer by just clicking one time on that little lock. Boom. That's how quick it was. And now it doesn't say background anymore. It just says layer 0. Now, it has been disconnected from its moorings. It's kind of like a boat that is now adrift. And if I now go back to this with the move tool and click and drag, guess what? I can move it around. And this image is now considered a layered file, even if it's only one layer, but it's a layered file. So we're going to go ahead and move it around a little bit. And then when we're ready to put it back where it came from, we're going to use some smart guides, these little pink lines that appear to tell us that it's in the right spot. So when I kind of hit the right spot, it'll go kind of snap. It's a feature called snap. And then I can see that I've hit the edges correctly and I have that line in the middle. And then I kind of move to the left. And if I go over it, it goes away. But when I finally snap top and bottom, I should see these two pink lines giving me saying, yes, you're right on. You just snapped it right back into place. So everyone move it out a little bit and then try to snap it back into place. And that two pink smart guides is what you'll want to help you show you that you've snapped it back.
So you snap it by moving the device until you see the pink things.
Yeah, so you move around, and when you hit the right spot, then the pink guides will show up to say, oh, yeah, it's fine right now horizontally. I got in the right space, but I don't have it yet vertically. So I move around, and when I finally hit the right spot there, I get 4 lines all around the edges that are pink, and those 2 cross in the middle telling me that I've centered it both horizontally and vertically. And then when I let go of my mouse, they all disappear. They're just there to show me the right way, but they've disappeared, and I don't, and it's basically saying that I don't need them right now anymore. Just so you all know, by the way, and I'm looking at the time, those of you who joined me early on, I haven't officially given you a break because I was supporting you all the way through and told you here and there to go, but everyone's gonna get a break. I just gave it to the other people. So I'm sorry, don't worry, in the future you'll get your break. I was just trying to get us to this point, okay? But don't despair. Next time you will get your time to go and play. For now, if you need to get up and move, please do so, but we still have, I'm wanting to be aware that we still have, I'm looking at the time, we still have about an hour, a bit less, 45 minutes to go. So if you need to stand up and walk around, keep an ear on what I'm doing. Because I don't want to give another break because we're kind of behind, and I want to make sure that we get a bit more work done before we move on. That way, next week when we start, we can actually begin to do some real manipulation of images from the very beginning, okay? So the image that we're seeing right now, when we first open it, popped on filling our screen, meaning it didn't fill to the top and bottom, meaning it filled itself until I can see it all. So when you ever open an image, it always shows you all of itself. But all of itself might or not be enough. Maybe you really want to go and see if someone's eyes are open, or if the flower, there might be details that you're not seeing. So you might want to zoom in, or you might want to zoom out to have more distance. So I'm going to show you guys how we zoom in and out efficiently. There's some shortcuts, and if you are on a Mac computer, they're different than you're on a PC computer. But here's the tiny catch. Those of you who are on a Mac on VDI, you are on a PC computer as far as the Photoshop is concerned. Okay, so anyone who at Mac at home but happens to be on VDI, for example, Bruce, you have to use the Windows shortcuts until you get your own programs. Okay, so so basically right now the shortcuts to zoom in and out will be for the Mac people who are at home. Hold down the command key. For the PC people, and everyone on VDI, hold down the control key and then tap the plus and minus keys that are up at the very top of your keyboard next to the number 0. You'll see a minus, and each time you tap it, your zoom gets your image gets zoomed down and becomes smaller and smaller. And then each time you tap your plus sign, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now I'm not letting go of that zoom, of that command or control key. I keep that one held down the whole time. And then I zoom in by hitting plus, 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 and I zoom out by hitting the minus key. Okay. Now, when you hit the minus key a bunch of times, you'll get it to be smaller than the window space that we have. And all that space that's out there is kind of useless in Photoshop. In fact, as you saw, if I move this around, it disappears. It's not like any of this is going to be used in any way, shape, or form. And I'm saying that because quite a few of you guys are in my Illustrator or my digital design techniques class and InDesign. And in those programs, this space is useful and it's called the space board and you can use it. But here in Photoshop, it hides. This is like a hole in a wall and it's a mask, and anything that goes behind it disappears. Okay, so you want to make sure that if you need it to be visible, if you need it to be useful, it's visible, but it does exist out there. So it's not like it gets cropped out, but that which exists out there isn't going to be printing or anything unless you bring it into the window, into the canvas. So this area in the world of Photoshop is called the canvas. In Illustrator, it's an artboard, and in InDesign, it's a page. Everyone has its name, but it's basically the space that the image that we're going to end up printing or using it from is on a canvas in Photoshop. So now instead of going down, let's go up, 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 and let's go up so much and that we start seeing those pixels that I was talking about. Keep going up, 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 up. And there you go. The photograph is beginning to break up into pixels. Okay. And if all you're seeing is white or something like that, once you get up here this big, you might want to move around. So the other shortcut that we're going to use is hold down the space bar. You hold down the space bar, you get a little hand, and you can click and drag your mouse now, and then you can scooch around to see different parts of your image at that same magnification. Right now I'm magnified to a lot, but what a lot I can see is down here on the bottom left. I see a little number. Right now I'm at 6,400%. Who knows how far you've magnified, but that number on the bottom left will tell you. So now I'm going to click and drag until I want to see more or less of it. And I'm going to hit Control or Command minus to see a little bit more of it. And then I can still see the pixels, but I can begin to try to go see the people. So as you can see, pixels might look sometimes like there's more colors in each pixel, but no, there's only one possible color per pixel. And it's that combination of many pixels put together of different colors that makes us see variation in tones, shadows, and shape and definition. And all of that happens because of pixels. So imagine that a photo has less pixels, there's less definition, there's less detail. There's more pixels, it'll have more richness, right? So you can have a very bad photograph with the millions of pixels and it's still a bad photograph. But if you compare apples to apples and have the same image taken with the camera that captures less pixels or one that captures more pixels, then the one that captures more pixels usually will have more richness and detail because it'll have, instead of his head maybe being made out of 100 pixels, it'll be made out of 1,000 pixels. It'll be made out of 3,000 pixels. So then you'll see every strand of hair versus seeing only a mass of black. Does that make sense? You just have more pixels to get more detail packed in there. So we're going to talk more about quite a bit more about pixels and resolution because that's a big conversation, especially if you're working with illustration and art and stuff like that. Resolution really matters, but this is the beginning part of the conversation about pixels. Also notice you cannot draw a straight line. Why can't you draw a straight line? Because pixels are going to make every diagonal be made out of a bunch of little squares, so it'll never be purely straight. And even when you have what looks like a straight line, like the street lines here, they might be able to almost hold the line for a little bit, but then invariably, unless it's 100% perfect, which in real life, nothing in a photograph is mathematically perfectly straight. So then even a straight line like this crosswalk is at some point going to be kind of fuzzy and whatnot. So you'll never be able to get, even if it looks like a straight line, once you go down, it's never really a pure straight line. So if you want pure, perfect, straight graphics, then you need to go to a different program like Illustrator to create vector graphics, okay? So I'm going to zoom in and out, and then I'm going to do this thing, which is make it go to 100%. In Photoshop, 100% is really important to us. 100% is where your pixels are showing the best way they can on your screen, whatever your monitor or screen is, so that you see it's perfect, as perfect a quality as it's going to be, is going to be at 100%. So to go quickly to 100%, you go to Control and then you tap the letter 1, the number 1, and that takes you to 100%, which coincidentally on the screen happens to fill my screen. Other times 100% does not fill the screen. It does in this case. And this is the only way I can look at an image and decide whether it's sharp or not sharp. If I see it smaller, it's always going to look sharp. If I see it bigger, it's always going to look pixelated. So you have to be at 100% to gauge the quality of an image. So let's go back to Bridge. Okay, so now this is where, by the way, I forgot to say that if Photoshop opened up, kind of hanging around like this, where it's hard to combine and see, you also need to go and expand it so it fills your screen, which is the same as we did with Bridge, so that both of the times your Photoshop is completely filling your screen. And then when you want to go to Bridge, you go down here to the power bar, to the taskbar, I'm sorry. And with the PC or the Mac, you can go to the dock and you click now on Bridge, and now Bridge comes up and fills your screen. Click on Photoshop and now Photoshop fills your screen, and so on and so forth, right? So you don't have to be juggling and moving things around to open one program or open the next one. All right, so if you're back in Bridge, before I move on, anything there that did everyone was able to open that photo and follow through and zoom in and out? Any questions? All right. So even if I say all right, because I don't see anyone answering, if you were just trying to unlock your sound, then interrupt me if I keep going, because maybe you were just trying to unmute yourself. And if I speak over me and tell me, no, I have a question, because sometimes I don't wait enough time to let you unmute yourself.
I missed the part about changing the tool in the workspace. My connection was dropping off.
So
and I had
basically
to
over,
reconnect.
it's okay. Over here on the top right, Mary, very top right, you get to choose, and we chose photography. You would have started under essentials like that, and go to this little icon arrow kind of pointing down next to this, between these two, and choose photography. Okay, and then did that work?
I didn't do it. I was watching you.
Oh, well, do it, because I have to show you one more thing. So
Okay.
Once you get to that, you'll have this libraries tab here that we don't want. So go to this little icon right there, click on that and say close tab group. And that's it. And it's important because now I want that to be the setup for everyone to have, because if you have questions that I know what you are or aren't seeing, which is why I'm repeating this portion. All right.
Okay. I'm seeing something different for the histogram, and I don't have a red.
Okay, the histogram might be black and white. That's okay. That's not an issue with that. That has something else to do, and it doesn't matter right now. The histogram for different people show up differently based on different preference settings, and it doesn't matter at all. We're not using the histogram right now.
Okay, so where was the red dot?
What do you mean by red dot? You mean my mouse? My mouse has a red dot. Oh, what I asked you to turn off? The libraries I asked you to turn off. So go over to the libraries. You guys say red dot, and I forget that my mouse tip has a red dot, which is only there for you to see my mouse better, but it's not part of Photoshop, so you don't see a red dot. So where you see libraries, go over to the far right, click on that tiny little icon that appears there.
Yes, I'm hovering over libraries.
And say, okay, so say close tab group. So that little icon there, close tab group,
I'm not,
and that goes away. You said you were hovering over layers, over libraries. I'm sorry.
Libraries. It says you
Right.
do not have access to this service.
Exactly, exactly. That's why we're turning it off. So don't go to libraries. Rather, where you see at the top that says libraries, move all the way to the right. And that little icon right there, click on that and close tab group. Is that working? Are you seeing the icon I'm asking you to
Yes.
use? I
It
don't
looks
want
like
you
it
to go in
froze.
here. Okay, maybe when you try to go into libraries, the reason we're turning this off is because it's, as you experienced, it says you don't have access to it and it can create problems, which is why I want to get rid of it. So if it's frozen, but the rest of the Photoshop is still working, then fine, ignore it. And later when it lights up again, you can get rid of it. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, so now let's go back to Bridge and we're going to open a different file. Now, this file that we opened, and we're going to begin to look at the metadata for a little bit, is showing us some numbers up here at the top. So the numbers are 1920 by 1280. That refers to pixels. That's how many pixels are available in this image. So this means that the widest number is 1920 is 1920 pixels and 1280 is 1280 pixels up and down. So that's the total of how many pixels this image has, which if someone is good at math or has a calculator handy, if you do this one times that one, you'll see how many millions of pixels are in this photograph, which is probably a lot of them. I'm not going to do the calculation right now, but it's up there in quite a few millions. Okay, so it takes a lot of pixels to be able to show good detail and good quality. Now, that said, that's not really very many pixels. The file size is only 1.82 megabytes, which is pretty small. I'm going to click instead on this image here. And notice that this image, which is called Be on Edge, this is a raw file, but that doesn't really matter to the point whether it's raw or JPEG. All that matters is that look at how many millions of pixels this one has. Well, thousands, it has 57,000 pixels to one side, 38, sorry, not 57,000. 5,700 by 3,800. So this one has total way many more millions of pixels than the other one. What does that mean? Well, boiling it down to the realities of what it means is just that this photo can be printed much bigger than the other one can. That's really all it means. There's a whole other conversation of quality to the image and a bunch of other stuff, but the most important thing when we're talking about millions of pixels is, can it be printed at what size? So the top picture, this one, might be able to be printed as a 16 by 20 or bigger image versus the bottom one might only be able to be printed as an 8 by 10 or 5 by 7. So we'll find out. I'll teach you how to find out how big you can print it, but that's really all it means. Total amount of pixels really only makes a difference at this point in how big can you print it. That's really the main the main question between one and the other. All right. So for now, yes.
Right now, we're looking at a raw image and the previous one was a JPEG.
Yeah.
So that is going to make a difference, correct? Because
no,
the JPEG
actually,
has already been smoothed out.
Great question. Great question. And no, there's absolutely no difference in amount of pixels in a camera. So let me distinguish. When you take the same camera, imagine the same exact camera, you can just switch a setting and it takes a raw picture and a JPEG. They will have the same amount of pixels because that sensor captures the same amount of light. Okay, so the number of pixels depends on what camera you purchased, how old it is, how much you spent. So phone An iPhone will take 12 megapixels. That's 12 million pixels. So it'll take an image that ends up with a 12 million pixels. If you have an old phone, it might be only 8 megapixels, which is 8 million pictures. If you have a DSLR of the newest kind, it might be 64 megapixels. If you have an old one, it might only be 20 megapixels. So those numbers, all it means is that when you click, that's how many pixels are going to be registered, no matter if it's RAW or JPEG. Okay, so since I talked the difference about RAW and JPEG a lot before, then what do you mean about compressing and having less quality? Well, because it isn't about how many pixels you have, it's about how compressed they are. And the best example I have, and I'm going to talk a lot about resolution and compression later, but just imagine you have a stick of gum and that's how much gum you have, just one stick of gum. You put it in your mouth and you chew it, right? You could turn that much gum into a tiny little tight ball with your teeth. You know how you can make a little tiny ball of gum where it's hard and tiny? That's very compressed. Or you can blow a bubble and stretch it out and have it cover your tongue. It's the same amount of gum, but it's stretched thin. That's uncompressed, okay? So there's no difference in the pixels, but when you compress the pixels, the file gets smaller, so it's easier to fit many of them because, you know, you can fit many more compressed little pieces of gum than if you have big ones out there in that same package. And so that's really what happens. The images get compressed, but no pixels get gotten rid of. You can get rid of pixels later. That's a whole different conversation, and we'll talk about that. But the camera compresses or doesn't compress, but it takes the same amount of pixels within its own camera. Like, of course, take a DSLR, it can do 64 megapixels, and a phone can do 12 million pixels. That's a different device. But on the same device, the number of pixels doesn't change. So this is a raw image taken in a camera. And if you want to know what camera over here, it'll even tell you what camera it's on. It's an EF Canon 20. Sorry, is this the EF? Over here it tells you. Now, why does it matter or not? It has to do with, so here it is. It's a Canon 5D Mark III. This is actually taken the other day. Well, not the other day, but April 25th. And it's, click and hold. Like I'm holding the space bar, not holding the space, clicking on the space bar to make it come up. And it's a little close-up shot of a bee. Now space bar back and it goes away. This on the other hand, okay, and look at how many pixels it have and how big the file is, okay? This little guy right next to it, look at how few pixels it has, only 900 pixels by 600 pixels. And it's a tiny little file. When I hit the space bar to see it, it shows up much smaller. See how it's perfectly sharp. So it has many less pixels, but it's totally sharp. You can see each little eyelash, okay? Versus if you click on this one and you pull it up, that bee is okay, but it's not extremely tack sharp. It's sharp, but it's not, I mean, you can see its little things, but you know, it's not like you can see every little hair on its body. There's other bee photos where you can see every hair on its body, right? So it's not as tack sharp, even though it's got bazillions of pixels more than this one that has very few pixels, but it is sharp. So that's why I meant that number of pixels doesn't tell you quality of image. It's just number of pixels, which relates to how many pixels how big you can print this file. Okay, it's not about what's the quality. Now, if the first photo had been taken tack sharp, in the end, it would be able to make a sharper picture than this one. That said, this can be enhanced and sharpness can be enhanced so to look sharp, and we're going to work on that. But number of pixels doesn't mean a difference. You can have an awesome picture taken in a camera that you purchased 20 years ago that was the first digital cameras, and it's an awesome photograph, but it just has less pixels, so it'll never print more than 5x7, but it's still an awesome photo. Does that make sense? All right. So now let's go ahead and look at this one next to that one. No, where's the other one that I wanted to open up as an example? Here's a JPEG. Okay. And this JPEG, look at how many pixels it's got, 6,000 by 4,000. Okay. So that's a ton of pixels. I click on it. And again, it's not absolutely tack sharp. It's from the same time as the other one. It's a kind of focus where you have just one little tiny bit of the stuff is in focus, which would be like the center of the spot, and the rest immediately falls off. Very shallow depth of field. Details, but as I open it now, it's a JPEG. It's got a ton of pixels. Let's go ahead and double click and open this one in Photoshop so we can compare what's going to happen with respect to zooming in or zooming out. Okay, so now we have two photos open in Photoshop. We have the crosswalk from above, and we have this little ceramic pot. If you look, this one is filling the screen, and up here at the top, one's called crosswalk, one's called image 97. I didn't change the name to that one. And they both seem to fill the screen. So they look like they are similar enough image-wise, size-wise. But if you look at the magnification number that I showed you at the bottom left here, this one says 33%.
Somehow
And for you, a number might be different. It depends on your monitor. Okay, so you might have 45% or 22%. It depends on your monitor. Mine says 33%. So let's take that to 100%. Command 1 or Control 1 if you're on a PC or on VDI. This is 100% for this image, which is only a teensy bit of the image. I can't see the whole image right now.
Diana, I haven't been able to get it to open in Photoshop. What am I doing wrong?
Maybe you just need to try again. If the double click isn't working, then right click and say open with Photoshop. Like for some people, it's hard to do a double click. So then
on the
that might
B.
be plan B.
I still on
Oh.
a B.
Well, if you're on the B, if you mean you tapped like that, your space bar, tap the space bar again for it to come down, and then go down and click on the little vase under the
No,
eye for image.
A B opened in Photoshop, not in.
Oh, okay. So if you open the B, if you double clicked on the B, then you've got, what you have is raw. So don't click on the B, you guys, but I'm going to do this to show her how to get out of it because it's a raw image. So instead of going into Photoshop, let me just show you. So just watch. It goes into this other thing called Camera Raw because it's a raw image. So it's opening up and you're in something like this. But you, if it's the first time you opened it, you might actually have a whole Camera Raw defaults welcome thing. Do you have that? Or are you in something like this, like me?
Yes, it said welcome and I clicked it closed.
Okay, so now go in to the very bottom right and say done. Right here, bottom right, you see the word done, say done, and that'll close it. So that's the Camera Raw engine I was talking about that you access from Bridge into Photoshop. So we'll all get there, we'll all do that, but we won't do that today. Okay, so now go back to Photoshop, to Bridge, I'm sorry, and then go find this image, which is a JPEG. And when you double click on a JPEG, it does open in Photoshop. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Good. Thank you.
So now if you do Command or Control 1, then you have a 100% image right there. Okay. And then over here, when you go up to the next image at the top, you go to crosswalk, at a command or command 1, 100%, this is all we see. And that's because we have so many less pixels on this one. This one I think was only 1,000 or 1,800 pixels wide. This is how big 100% it is for this one versus 100% magnification for this one is barely a teensy bit of this image because we had 6,000 pixels on this one. Does that make sense, you guys? So there's just things
So,
that you wouldn't know. Yes? Yes? Someone said my name. If you're talking, you must have muted yourself, because if you're talking, I can't hear you. Whoever talked.
Deanna, I just
Yes.
got an error. Your session has expired. Please reconnect the server.
Yes, it's the VDI again. So just say, okay, reconnect. I don't, as I said, usually people on Chromebooks have a bit of more of an issue with VDI. So just keep reconnecting. And once you reconnect, it should take you the same spot you were. So you'll be back in here. It's not like you have to restart everything. As long as you say reconnect, when it reconnects, you'll be, Photoshop is still open and the files are still open. As long as you do it right now, not if hours go by, but right now you'll still be there. Okay. All right. It's interesting because the school provides people Chromebooks if they need to take a class so that no one's left out. But the problem is that Chromebooks aren't necessarily that good for Adobe Creative Cloud Work. So it's as much as they can do, and it's great, but it's not perfect. So, just it takes a bit more work. So thanks for keeping with it, Mary, and keeping going on. But
Yes,
that's
actually, I am working on a Windows laptop.
oh, okay, still, but you have two connections going. You have
But
the Chrome
yes,
and the Windows.
It's the
So
two
that-
connections that
It's
are,
a two, yeah. So if you truly need to, then that's what you have to do. And if you don't need to, then then you end up having this harder to connect when you have two connections going. So anyone who has two connections going is going to have a bit of a harder time if they have a slow internet speed. Okay, so here I am. I went all the way to 100% on this photo. I'm seeing just a little bit of it. So what if I want to move around? Remember, what was it that we had to do to see different parts of this image? Staying at 100%, but I wanted to scooch around. I called it panning. Does anyone remember? Maybe I want to see the top of this thing. So you hold a space bar down to get the hand, and then you can click and drag, and then you can see the top or the bottom of this image. You can move around. Okay. So for a lot of you guys who've been doing this for quite a while, a lot of this stuff is kind of second nature to you. But some people forget some of the basics, like this one, where once you're at this magnification level, I'm not changing 100%. This is where I can tell if this image is good or bad. I couldn't tell. See, when you go, think about it, go Control minus and make it small. And at this point, it looks like more of it is in focus, right? But it isn't until you get to Control or Command 1 that you really discover that there's there's a smaller spot of focus than you thought. And the out of focus starts much sooner. And that's because you can't gauge focus until you see something at 100%. Okay. The other image, on the other hand, at crosswalk at 100%, does this look like it's in focus? Yeah. And by the way, not everything has to be in focus to be in focus. This particular little photo needed to be flat and sharp, and everything had to be in focus. So it makes sense that the whole thing would be in focus. This was never intended to be a photograph with everything was in focus. It was shot purposely to make it be that way. But the question is, even in the most focused parts, do you have enough focus, or is it still a tad soft? And this one still is a tad soft because the focus falls only in a little tiny portion. So we're going to have to enhance that. Now, we're only going to get enhanced focus on the areas that are in focus. As soon as the focus falls off, and this is really what I'm trying to teach you here, as soon as something is not in focus, say you move this over a little bit to the right, as soon as something is actually out of focus, there's no fixing that. So if you have a photo that's really good, but it's out of focus, it's not really good. You can't fix an out of focus photo because the camera didn't capture that. So you can't invent what's not there. Okay. So there's many times that you keep a photo because it's your, it's your baby boy, and who cares if it's not in focus and you love it and the expression is the best smile or whatever. But if it's a product photo, or if it's something say this one here, I'm just gonna hit the space bar. If it's a portrait like this, what matters is that his eyes should be in focus. Other parts of his body can be out of focus and it still be a good photo. Depending on this one happens to be, this photographer chose to put everything in focus, but the very least his eyes have to be in focus because it is a portrait, right? So eyes are really important in a portrait. Like if his watch was in focus and his face wasn't, then it would be an ad for the watch and you should crop it at that point, but you should certainly not have his face in there. Does that make sense? So focus is important. And that's why we check any image we're going to work with. The first thing we do is we check it at 100% in Photoshop, just to make sure that it's worth our time working with that image versus moving on to something else. Does that make sense?
Deanna?
Yes.
Sorry, I try to say it right. I had an experience a couple of weeks ago where I was presented with a photograph that was old and miscolored and all of that. And so I cleaned up the background, etc., and presented it.
I like this
for,
one.
Yeah, it was something like that. And my son-in-law was here, who is very proficient in AI, and he had an app. And when we applied the app to the photo, it made it so in focus it wasn't funny. I was shocked.
Yeah, I know. There's apps out there that are able to fake focus right now that are pretty impressive. There's apps out there that can make a photograph look like a video. You've seen them, right? Where suddenly you've seen them in the news lately, where you just apply a photo of an old, person who died 100 years ago, and suddenly they're smiling at you in a little video. There's apps out there that are doing pretty amazing things. And there's some specific apps that are made just to enhance focus. So Photoshop has a great feature for enhancing photos that exists there and makes it better. But when you want to go completely artificial because focus is not there, then you actually have to use an app where it invents focus. It's like it creates something that's not there, which other apps can do. Photoshop doesn't invent things that are not there. Photoshop fixes what's there. But if you need to say there's no focus in this and I need something to create a whole new thing, they do it so well that it does create focus. So if you have an image that you just need to save, like it's the only picture of your Aunt Polly, definitely. But that's not something you would, you can do as much as you can first in Photoshop, make it as good as you can, get your best quality image you can get, then put it through one of those apps to process it, and then you can end up with a good picture. If you ask your son the name of that image, I'm trying a couple of ones out of that app. I'm sorry.
I downloaded it.
It would be good.
Yeah, I downloaded it and did it
Send
myself.
me the info.
I'll look
later.
for it.
Just send me an email or something.
This was like a 4x6 that they wanted blown up to a 16x20 for a memorial service. And it was like the worst. It was kind of like you took a picture with a 3 megapixel camera in a dark room. And actually it was interesting. I'll try and find the app.
I have a little example here of that with this image, which is something a student brought last class, but he's not in our class this time. We didn't get around to working on it, but he brought this little image here, which is really tiny. And he made a little composite of it, and I was going to suggest how to make a better composite of it. So I brought it here mainly because this image here is small and he wanted to be able to make it big. And I just put it through the raw enhance that Photoshop has, and I got it to go double and triple its size, still at perfect quality. Raw can do that now. So one of you, I think Bonnie, you had said you wanted to learn more about it. So I brought it in to be something we learn in this class, okay? So I'll show you whatever it is that Photoshop or Raw can do here with that thing, because this is the real image, 1280. And then this is Photoshop enhanced, basically double the size, and you can go triple the size. And when you open one or the other and move from this one to this one, it's just bigger, but quality wise, it's identical. And so that is fake. And that is Photoshop doing that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll show you that.
You want me to show you the difference?
How about you show me another time or after class, or send me the info, but I want to finish the last 15 minutes
Right.
because we're a bit behind. Okay. But this, I only tried, you can put it through the processor many times. This is only one run through the processor in RAW, and it doubled the size. You can do it 3 or 4 times, but clearly there's apps out there that do it much, much better than Photoshop does. So yeah, it's always good to know that that exists. That did not exist even like, not even 2 years ago, 1 year ago, you did not have good apps that did it. This is advancing in leaps and bounds what AI or artificial intelligence can do with imagery. All right. Okay, so back to Photoshop. So this is the kind of stuff that if you, let me go back, you want to see the whole image again, you can tab your wheel back up and down or back up and down, or you can just say, fill my screen with my image. And to do that, you're going to do Control or Command and hit the 0, boom. And it just goes straight back to filling your screen, okay? So Command 1, to get 100%, you must always check an image at 100% before you proceed with it. And then Command or Control 0 to fill your screen with your image again. Coincidentally, and it truly is coincidental, the crosswalk image happens to be that Command 1 and fill the screen are pretty much the same thing. But even then, when you fill the screen with this one, it kind of gets a little bit bigger, okay? All right, now let's see what happens. The whole point of Photoshop, the whole point of editing with Photoshop is to enhance something, to make it look, if it's already good, look way better. If it's bad, kind of fix it. But when something is extremely good, you can make it just pop out and become extraordinary. So that's one way of using Photoshop, to really enhance an existing photograph. Another way of using Photoshop is to create something that not doesn't exist. For example, the house that you guys need to put on a hill that was, not even built yet, or illustrations, right? So there's all these different ways of using Photoshop. For anything else other than a straight photograph, you're going to need to do that in layers. So we use layers in Photoshop to get done whatever it is that we want to get done. So I'm going to have you guys, we're going to make one of these photos, instead of being 2 separate photos, we're going to put one of these photos on top of the other so that they become 2 layers on the same image. Okay. Now these 2 photos in particular have no relationship to the other, and this would be something that you might normally put together. On top of that, I purposely had you open 2 photos that, as you can see, have hugely different amount of pixels. So when you put them together, it's not like you'll be putting, this and this together, which are about the same size. It's going to be like putting something this size on top of something this size, okay? Because one is much smaller than the other. So the little crosswalk one is going to float on top of the pottery one. Or if we put the pottery one into the crosswalk one, we'll only see a couple grains of it, and the rest will be hidden behind in the canvas and that mask. Does that make sense, you guys? Size-wise, how they're not compatible? So you need to be aware of that when you want to collage images, that if they need to, both of the parts of the collage need to fill the same amount of space, they should be somewhat compatible. In this case, what we're going to do, just to make it easier, we're going to take the smaller one, crosswalk, and we're going to put it on top of this little vase. Now this vase, make sure you have it at Control or Command 0 so it fills your screen, so it's already you're seeing the entire thing. Now we're going to go over here to the crosswalk one. One way to do this would be to copy paste, right? But the other way to do this, which I'm going to just show you a slightly more complicated way to do this, because it's actually the way that it is more typical to do in Photoshop than a copy paste. Copy paste could create, in a very technical way, some issues with the file having modifications, versus this way it won't. So put your mouse over this image, over this crosswalk, any part of it, and just watch me first one time. You're going to click you're gonna drag it up without letting go of your mouse to the name of the other file, right? And then you're gonna drag it down again and let go. And it's gonna say, are you sure you wanna convert colors? Because we'll talk about color modes and this later, but right now say yes, it's okay. It doesn't matter to this image. And there you go. This one will appear, as I showed you, like a little tiny fly in the ointment of the big one because of the slight difference in pixels. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z, and get rid of what we just did and do it one more time. So you grab this one from anywhere. It's just put your mouse on the layer, drag it up to this name, and once it changes to that one, just drag it down again and let go. Say okay to this guy. It's different color modes. Does everyone have this little crosswalk floating on top of the big vase right now? Now you can really see the difference in pixels. Say that again.
I don't know how to grab the picture.
Okay, so maybe you still have it locked over here. If it's in the crosswalk, you need to unlock it. So click on that little lock if you still see it. If you do still see it, then that will help you. And now make sure you're in the move tool, which is the top tool, and then just put your mouse over it anywhere, click and hold down your mouse and drag it up like a drag, click and drag it up. Now, if you have a mouse, that's easy to do. Do you have a laptop with a touchpad perchance?
Yes, I have a laptop. I noticed yours says layer 1 and mine says background.
Okay, so that's what I said. You need to unlock it. So over here, you have a little lock image. You have to click on it one time to get it to disappear. Then it'll say layer 0.
Got
Okay.
that.
So you have that little lock right there. You have to click on it to unlock it. So once you click on it to unlock it, then you'll be able to drag it up. So up and down. We had done that a little bit earlier and I forgot to make sure that everyone had it done. What's that?
I drag it up and down, but nothing happens. Except
Okay.
up and down.
Okay, so you drag it up to image, wait until the other one pops in and then drag it all the way down until your mouse is in the middle and then let go. Okay, you have to kind of plop it back in. Anyone else who's having an issue with plopping that photo back into the other one?
Yeah.
If you're good at shortcuts, you can actually hold down the shift key and then it plops into the middle automatically. So that's another option. But if you're having an issue, do you want to share your screen?
Sure. Let's see.
All right, so I'm going to stop my share. Go ahead and share your screen. Whenever I offer you to share your screen or request that you share your screen, you need to confirm that you're doing it because then I'll stop my share. If you're not going to do it, then I'll keep sharing. Okay, so let's go over to Photoshop. Okay, so where's your other? Okay, so grab this, drag it up. So the image you need to go to is, okay, look, the one called image 9778. Yeah, wait for a second. There you go. Now drag your mouse all the way down. Drag your mouse and say, okay. And there it is. Okay, you are probably putting it, you must have put it on Burkhart 25 times. Go to Burkhart, see if you had dropped it there. Go click on that Burkhart image, which by the way, if you have it open right now, unless you're really actively working on it, you shouldn't have too many photos open that if you haven't opened it in months, go ahead and get rid of it. And then same with, you have a mug image there, you might want to close. Yeah, that's one of mine, cool. So there you go. Okay, you were just focusing on, you were just dropping it in the wrong place. I'm going to start your sharing. Okay, who is speaking?
Mary, my screen is
Okay.
showing a rectangle, a dotted line rectangle that on my crosswalk image. And I'm assuming I need to get rid of that.
Dotted line rectangle. Why don't you share? Yeah, because I don't know what you're talking about. And guys, by the way, we only have a couple of minutes left in the class. So please don't leave until I show you how to close all of this safely, okay? We haven't made any changes in the file, so we don't need to save them, but I want to close out that such that next time when you sign in, you have everything working and it wasn't corrupted. I'm waiting for you to share. Meanwhile, Mary?
Now I'm waiting to connect again.
Okay, so then meanwhile, I'll keep talking. So you guys, here's the deal. Remember the issue that we had connecting to Google Drive? That we had to disconnect and connect? The easiest way to do this is that when you're done, and this is you guys at home, you just close your programs, you save, you're done. That's all you need to do. But if you guys have to, oh, there, Mary's sharing. But if you guys are on VDI, you need to, okay. So it seems to me that maybe what's happening is that you're clicking on that back arrow and you're leaving VMware. And when you go click on that arrow there, you seem to be leaving VMware, which is VDI. And that's why you keep falling out. Is it possible that you've been clicking that back arrow on the browser, Mary?
It's, well, in the process of sharing.
Yeah. Okay, no, all I'm saying,
Zoom.
you're sharing, I'm seeing your screen. But I have a feeling that what's happening, because this is the second time that you're out in the desktop mode again. And when that happens is when you click on the back arrow as if you were in a browser. And as soon as you back out of a browser that's holding VDI, it drops you out of VDI, right? And now it's trying to drop you in again and it's not popping in. So this isn't about Zoom,
No,
this is about VDI.
I am disconnecting and reconnecting.
But do you know why? You're in the middle of Photoshop and suddenly it just disconnects.
I think it's my internet connection.
It's possible, but usually what happens is it just kind of freezes. It doesn't just drop. So, and I'm going to stop you for a minute because since we're not seeing anything, I'm going to stop your sharing. I'm going to share mine and I'm going to show you what I think might be happening. And then I'm going to show everyone how to, close up for today. So what I'm thinking might be happening, Megan, since it happened a few times, and it could be that it's just your connection, right? But when it's your connection, it tends to just kind of stop working and you end up always in the student's desktop. So watch my screen. I think, and I'm just guessing here, that what's happening is that you're working on this and then you go and click on this back arrow. See that back arrow you think is to go back to something, right? So instead of going here or there, or you think it's a browser and you go back. But when it's your tab for VMware Horizon and you click back arrow, it drops you out. You go back in here, which is where you're going, which is a student desktop. See that back arrow? So just keep an eye on not clicking a back arrow. Now, the fact that I can click and go back in relatively quickly because I didn't disconnect, you who are having issues with your connection. Now I'm saying relatively quickly, and now I'm running into the trouble. So it takes a while to reconnect again. And but when you get back in, you're still there, which is what happened last time that we showed me. You were back there once you did that. So I think that that's what's happening, that you're clicking that arrow over there. So that's what fixed it when you showed me last time. You just connected again and you were in the right place. So the only way to fall out of this place is not your connection, doesn't drop you back into the student desktop. It just kind of freezes. It's that back arrow. Okay, so try to see that it might just be that what's been happening, and avoid any arrow that's above outside of Photoshop. All right, so guys, we haven't changed anything here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just, we have changed. We brought a file into here, but this is not something that's a good composite that we're going to keep, right? So, oh, one more. I got distracted. There was one thing I wanted to show you here. So here, let me finish this, even though I know that it's, the class is over. Give me a second. This image, if I click on it and move it around, as you can see, is now floating above the other one. Now, look over here to the right. That's what I wanted to show you. I am in the layers panel. It says layers, and now I have two layers. I have the background layer that I had not disconnected in the past. So it still says background. And then I have layer 1. These two layers are now going to be able to be manipulated in whichever many ways they are to create combinations of one plus the other. But you will end up having a ton of layers in Photoshop, and it's these layers that allow you to do the composites and the, you know, all the filters and all of the extra stuff. So we're going to be working with layered files. So what's happening? This up on top was a JPEG. This up on top was a JPEG. If we now want to save this as a layered file, then when I open that layered file next week, I can keep working on it. And this is not stuck in one place. But if instead I want to save this again as a JPEG, the only option is, if I were to save this as a JPEG again, is this will flatten itself into this other bottom, and then it'll just become part of the image. Like whatever's underneath will be gone. And flattening means you don't have the option of layers anymore. And then it'll be as if this had been glued on with, you know, Gorilla Glue, and you obliterated what's underneath it. So you should never flatten layered files, even at the end, because you can always keep back for years modifying and saying, this time I want it there, this time I want it here. Maybe the butterfly has to fly a little bit higher or a little bit lower. So you don't want to be flattening layered files. What you want to do is you want to save them as a layered file, which is save as a Photoshop document, as a .psd. Okay, so a PSD is a Photoshop document that maintains the layers. Now, just for practice, not because this is a layered file that is worth it. I was showing you this stuff, but we don't want to keep this one because there's no reason for this. There's no like future to these two layers together. So we're not going to save this file right now. If you did want to save it, you could not save it as a JPEG. You would have to save as and create a new third file that would be a layered file. Does that make sense? You would never be able to make a JPEG out of this without obliterating what's under the other layer. Okay, so now we don't want to save it. So when we go up to this name file, see that little X right here? You click on X, it'll say, do you want to save? And you'll go, nah, no, thank you, no changes. So you say no, and it closes up. And the same with this one. When you close it, do you want to save? Now the change here was minor. All we did was he unlocked it, but it's still a change. So we're asked, do you want to save changes? No, that's fine. We'll say no to that. That'll close our files. And then to close the program itself on the PC, especially if you're a Mac, you're not accustomed to this, you go all the way to the top right, and be careful, not the browser and all that, but the top right that's right above the black area. So it's gray, and that's the one that closes Photoshop. Now, the good news is that if you do nothing else, all our stuff, next time you open up Bridge, you're just here. You'll just be here. You won't have to go find your files all over the place. Next time you open it up, you'll find the files easily. Let's close Bridge. Yeah.
We need to close from BMB.
Yeah. First, close the programs like I just did.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah. And then for people who are at home, that's all you need to do. But for people who are on VDI, there's one extra step. There's two extra steps. First, let's disconnect from Google Drive file stream. Each time we connect, we'll connect again. And then the second thing would be to disconnect from VDI. So head down to this little bottom right arrow to disconnect from the Google Drive file stream. Click on the Google Drive. And then head over to the gears, preferences, and disconnect account. That way, next time we connect, it'll ask us to connect, and it'll be a fresh connection, and it'll just pop up for us. The request will pop up. So we'll disconnect account, we'll say okay. And then you can disconnect from VDI. So there you go. So next time you'll have that in front of you, and you'll just sign in again, and it'll be really quick. And now you can disconnect from VDI. See this little tab? I have this in the way so you don't see it well. See this little tab here on the left side of your screen? Click on that tab, and then we can go up to the top and sign off of VDI. Okay, so Okay, so we have this little tab right there. And you go up to the very top and log out. And once you do that, are you sure you want to log out? Yeah, okay. So that's a true logging out. Okay, you're back here, you're done. You can close it up and everything is closed up safely. All right. If anyone needs more help with all that closing up, let me know. But other than that, I'll send you an email with links. Here's the real important homework. Everyone who's on VDI, everyone who had issues getting their files today, everyone who had to wonder how to bridge get it, please watch the recordings that I'm going to send you of how to access the files and all that, or access the class recordings, and get that down to a science. Practice it 10 times this week. Just practice, so that next week we open the class, we open up, Photoshop is connected, the Google Drive file stream is connected, and we just work and we start creating images and fixing images, okay? All of the conversation we had today, this is the last time. Now you have all week to practice, to email me, to watch your videos. If you have questions and it's not working, to get help from me, so that next week we just work in Photoshop. That's your homework, okay?
Diana, I have a question.
Yeah.
But this is unrelated. I'm about to buy a computer. I'm debating because I have a lot of videos.
Okay,
I've been
give me
shooting
a
a lot of
second.
videos. Okay.
Give me a second, Patricia.
Uh-huh.
Guys, you're welcome to hear any beautiful knowledge that might pop out of my mouth regarding this if you're interested, so you can stay. But officially class is over, so unless you have any questions, you're welcome to just leave. Thank you, Joyce. See you guys next week. And yeah, do hang out if this applies to you or if you have anything else to ask me. All right, yes, Patricia.
Yes, and I went to Costco and the person right there told me if I was going to do my photos, it's better to buy a computer that is capable with games, because it has a chip in there, so I can do the developing of the videos. But I still need to buy, an external drive if I wanted to download all my videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm darn about that. So you want to work more with photos or with videos? Because
both of them, because I have all kinds, and I've been working with my photos, but I also need to know what to do with the videos.
Gaming computers are set up quite differently than computers that are set up for image working, and in part there's some slight sense to that, because gaming computers need to be pretty powerful to run games fast, and so they tend to put they tend to be powerful computers. But many times the gaming computers don't have the same graphic cards that you would need to see a good quality images. So the graphic card might be focused on it working differently than it would if it's an image based. If you go to Costco and try to buy one of the Costco computers, here's where I'm torn, because I did buy a Costco computer for my son who does a lot of videos and is working on videos, but I didn't buy him a gaming computer. The only problem with, like, and you're not talking Apple computers, you're talking PCs, Windows, right?
No, yeah, PC, yes.
Yeah, because the Apple computers that they sell at Costco don't have enough RAM if someone who's truly going to work with Photoshop. So you shouldn't get those. You should get one from the Apple store with more RAM. But that kind of happens also with the PCs. The PCs that they sell, when you kind of buy the basic sets that they have, you need to check. Send me an email. I have a whole handout that tells you how to kind of shop around for computers for what you need, that I use for my credit course that I can send you. But you need to be careful with, it's not just processing power, but you need to have a lot of RAM. And if you're going to spend any money on anything, spend money on more RAM, because if you're going to be doing videos, that's really crucial for you. to have RAM. And you need a graphic card that's good with graphics, and not every PC, especially the cheap ones, have a graphic card that's really good with images. So really you need to focus on a good graphics card, which gaming computers might or not have, and lots of RAM, which gaming computers might or not have. What gaming computers have is really fast processors, and that's good, but you need a few other things that maybe gaming computers don't need. Okay.
Okay.
So it's kind of but it's not a bad idea per se, because some gaming computers definitely could work for graphics. It's just that I don't know what they have and what they don't have. So send me an email, remind me, I'll dredge up that handout to give it to you. And then you'll be able to maybe ask questions a little bit more in detail of graphic cards, and definitely put your money in RAM.
Thank you so much,
Which
Diana.
is
It really-
also, you're welcome.
You really guide me.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Oh my God, I'm tired. Seeing everyone in half an hour for another class. So I'm going to sign out and take a half-hour break. Bye.